Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.
Flight Sports TV, that's where it's at.
Flight Sports TV.
What's going on, people? It's Flight Sports TV. I appreciate y'all for checking with me. Y'all already know what it is. We back with another one of them things, and we got a lot to discuss right now, man. It's a Flight Sports TV exclusive. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's time to break everything down. Listen, if you're a basketball fan, hit the goddamn subscribe button. We about to get cooking right now, man. I'm telling you, my New York Knicks are back. They got the Cleveland Cavaliers, goddamn it, I'm feeling good. Right now, I'm telling you, the New York Knicks are going to break down the Cleveland Cavaliers. You book it. You heard it here first at Flight Sports TV. I'm telling you, the redemption tour of Julius Randle has begun. We have a point guard now, Jalen Brunson. Listen, my bad, I'm getting carried away. Listen, I need everybody to hit the like button. If you're new, most definitely hit that subscribe button. It's Flight Sports TV. Shout out my man Thunder. Everybody that's tuning in with us. We got playoff predictions. Full bracket breakdown is win or go home. Who will survive? Who will get to the promised land? We have playing basketball within 48 hours. I'm telling you, it's about to go down. It's Flight Sports, all access. What's the deal, Dex? Talk to the people. We live.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Flight Sports TV, the machine, the voice of the voiceless, the people's champ, the hottest in these streets. Shout out to the panel as it reaches its premium peak. And most definitely shout out to the chat and all of its cacophony that spews from the cracks and crevice of Flight Sports block. And I would be remiss, Flight, if I didn't check in and big ups all the people that pull up the Flight Sports TV block that is unsubscribed, that has never liked the stream, and have never hit the notification, so they don't know what the hell is going on. But check this out, folks. This is your grand opportunity to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and definitely hit the notification bell so you won't miss one iota of an exuberant experience. So, Flight, listen, I know there's a lot of people out there that's feeling real gifty, especially on the Lord's Day. And if you are one of those people or persons that is feeling a little gifty, listen, we appreciate all your generosity. Submit all gifts to PayPal, to Super Chat, to Cash App, baby. Be a brick in the wall, have some skin in the game. Flight Sports TV, we love you. Like, we got a plethora of basketball information tonight. I'm talking about Rudy Gobert. I'm talking about the Los Angeles Lakers, the New Orleans Pelicans. Oh my God, they're in Pearl. Like, what about Plumlee and Hyman on the sideline of the Los Angeles Clippers? Plumlee has never been in such an intense moment probably in all of his life. Like, being on La La Land, and they don't play. There's gangsters in LA. What about the Brooklyn Nets? Brooklyn, stand up! I'm quite sure Jay-Z, the son of Brooklyn, is proud to see those Brooklyn Nets enter into an extended season. Oh, Flight. What about the surprise Sacramento Kings? There's so much we can talk about. Embiid,
Yeah,
the behemoth of a
yeah.
human being, the monstrosity of a man. Embiid. Oh my
So that
God, Flight.
CWE
Those
Tay is going down.
doggone Celtics.
Oh Lord, the
Milwaukee
seed,
Bucks. What is Giannis going to do this year?
the
Chicago
seeds.
squeaked in the play-in by the hair of their teeth. Flight, it's so much on the table tonight, Flight. What you got for us, brother?
Well, listen, I mean, to be honest with you, is like where we want to go with this thing. As we see the seedings that we just had right in front of you, obviously we know 4 matchups as definitively. We know the Suns versus the Clippers. I think that's going to be extravagant. The Knicks Cavs, that's going to be crazy. The Kings Warriors, that's going to be wild in itself. And that Sixers Net series. So you got showdowns already in play. It's seriously like right now. I obviously before we get to the postseason, we must get into the play-in. And why not start with the top team that's in the play-in? Because we got to get to the play-in before we get to the playoffs. Ain't that right, Dex?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we got Tuesday night, Los Angeles Lakers is on deck against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Listen, what's your thoughts on Access? You're a true Laker fan. And the chat, what's your thoughts? Listen, there's the play-in between the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. We thought it was going to be the Pelicans. That's why I kept telling the people we will not know what's going on until the whole entire dust was cleared. The dust is cleared. Now we got everything lined up. Who the hell is going to win that situation in that play-in? I got the Lakers beating them in one game and moving forward. What's your thoughts on that situation and who's going to survive?
Well, listen, it's win and move on. And I believe now, Flight, since the dust have finally settled, and it took, this is a real competitive NBA season. I'm not going to lie, Flight. When we look at the bottom portion of both conferences, it was competitive down to the very last game. And this is what you call a superb job put forth by the NBA competition committee. The way the schedule shook out for the regular season and how some of these remaining games down the stretch were very vital and pivotal for playoff positioning. These teams were jockeying like crazy, Flight. I believe the Los Angeles Lakers will win and move on. The Minnesota Timberwolves have 2 opportunities, 2 grand chances at sneaking in to the 8th slot. Minnesota did it last season. Can they replicate that kind of success in the play-in tournament? They have 2 opportunities. They go on the road to face the new-look Los Angeles Lakers, who might be a little tired, Flight. So we got to watch that. Those legs of the Lakers were looking kind of weary against a depleted Utah Jazz team who wasn't playing for nothing but game pride. That's it. And being in La La Land for their last game of the season was a vacation package for the Utah Jazz. However, they did give the Lakers a run for their money. And thankfully, the Lakers' distribution of success was grander because they did not have to lean on one individual to bring the bacon home. It was a distribution of wealth and stats for the Los Angeles Lakers. And unfortunately for the Minnesota Timberwolves, they have some indoor fighting in their organization and on their team. Rudy Gobert, for crying out loud, the Frenchman that caused the NBA to shut down, is swinging on his own player, his own brother in war and combat. So the Minnesota Timberwolves organization was not pleased at that and sent him home immediately. So we don't know the ramifications of that as those details start to unfurl as we speak. And we'll probably hear something more tomorrow about Rudy Gobert availability for the playing game for the Los Angeles Lakers. I take it he probably will be suspended for that one game. And I don't know if it helps or hurt Minnesota or if it helps or hurt the Los Angeles Lakers, because the Minnesota Timberwolves can use that as a rally cry against the Los Angeles Lakers and come out and play some very good basketball, Flight.
You're absolutely right, Dex. I got the Los Angeles Lakers, doing some big things, to be honest with you. I think the Lakers are going to beat them, and then they're going to go on to face the Memphis Grizzlies, and I think they're going to beat down the Memphis Grizzlies. I think all bets are off now. The Lakers, it's time, and they're going to destroy them, and it's going to be off the back of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You have, in this matchup against Minnesota, you have LeBron James versus Anthony Edwards. That's going to be a showdown in itself. And then you have the two behemoth centers, the Twin Towers, and Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert going matched up against the Beast and Anthony Davis. Now, recently, Dex, we've seen Anthony Davis give these dudes the business. And that was in the regular season. I think he put up, I forgot how much. It was 30 plus. It might have been knocking on 40. But he was shitting on them. What is the play-in is obviously postseason playing in some form. It's going to be a playoff field. I mean, how do you see that dynamic working out before we get to LeBron and Edwards? How does Anthony Davis combat these two, knowing the last time they seen Anthony Davis, he put a hurting on them? They can't go out like this. Let me know if you can hear me too, Dex. I don't know if my connection was straight. Shout out my man.
I can hear you, Flight. Yes.
Yes. I was trying to get your thoughts on the situation with Anthony Davis and the two Twin Towers out there in Minnesota. How would they fare since the last time they played? Anthony Davis shitted on them, so they're going to be coming out with a little bit more intensity being matched up against AD. I think that's going to be a tough call.
Yeah, well, like I said, they have some infighting going on with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we're going to see how that shakes out and if it hurts or helps Minnesota. The thing about those towers over there at Minnesota, Karl Anthony Towns play a lot of perimeter basketball. So his height and girth may not be as pivotal as you might think, because he's not in the trenches type of guy. Well, as Rudy Gobert, yes, most definitely, two-time Defensive Player of the Year, I think maybe 3 times. But his presence can be felt if Rudy Gobert comes to play and not come just to sniff around and smell on people's necks. But other than that, they could be a problem. But I just think Anthony Davis, the Kentucky congruent, facing his brethren in uniform in automata, that Anthony Davis will always want to be the best player to ever come out of Kentucky.
Right. I mean, I agree with that. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of infighting going on, but we'll see. This is going to be a great, terrific matchup, man. I got the Lakers. I'm pretty sure is a trick question to figure out who you got. That's an easy call, in my opinion. We move on with that. Salute to everybody in the chat. Shout out my man Basil, Day One Basil. Shout out Slim Can Hoop, Day One. Shout out my man Rap God, Anthony Alvarado. Everybody in the building, man. We are having a basketball extravaganza right now. So let's move forward to the matchup that I really wanted. And mind you, before we move on, that D-Lo dynamic. I know we're getting caught up with everything else. Don't lose track with that D-Lo dynamic. That was his former team. You got Vanderbilt. You got guys coming home. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this just shakes out. But now I really wanted the Lakers versus the Pelicans. I mean, seriously, I was praying on it. I had my fingers crossed. That's what I wanted. selfishly, but too bad, it didn't happen. I think the Pelicans tanked and dodged the bullet. They made sure they positioned themselves correctly. They know they didn't want that Lakers smoke. They will beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, in my humble opinion. I don't think they match up well, so it's a crazy situation. What's your thoughts on that, Dex, on that Pelicans Oklahoma City matchup? Brandon Ingram is playing like his life is on the line. What's the deal right now with the Pelicans? There's no Zion Williamson headed into postseason play. Is crazy.
Well, I'm disappointed too, Flight, because I wanted the Lakers to play the Pelicans. I thought it would be all fair and love and war between the two, because you have the Brandon Ingram dynamic. You have the Lakers trade with the Anthony Davis situation. And I just wanted Brandon Ingram to flourish and have a real outstanding game, but in a loss. And I also want the Pelicans to see how important it is to have the baby behemoth Zion Williamson healthy. So with the Pelicans and the Oklahoma City Thunder, still in the Thunder, no pun intended, from Lakers and Pelicans, I just think it's kind of a sore eye to see Oklahoma City come down to the Bayou with Shea and company to play Brandon Ingram and the Pelicans.
Good call on that All Access. Like I was stating, that matchup against the Thunder and Pelicans is going to be a good one too. I think that's going to be even closer. Obviously, I think the Pelicans was going to be doomed facing the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, I'm not here to criticize my Pelicans fans that's in the house with me. Let me know your thoughts on that. Since Pelicans think they got an easy win, it ain't going to be easy facing those teams. Shout out Rap Guy Reloaded. That matchup will not be easy, man. You got some dogs over there in OKC. You got some names that people not familiar with, but they got talent. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is no joke. You understand? Josh Giddey is no joke. And I like that they're getting a taste of some postseason play. I believe listen, I don't think they really want to make the playoffs anyway. So the Pelicans clearly have a great opportunity, because listen, they really want to get to the lottery. That's OKC. I think they was pump faking all along like Utah. They didn't really want to get here, even though they fought, but it just happened like that. And once they was moving in that direction, there was no way to get loose, but it is what it is at the end of the day. I got the New Orleans Pelicans beating down the Oklahoma City Thunder in this series. Let me figure out what's the standings here. Okay, so basically all they have to do is win one game because they're the 9th seed. So I got them beating down OKC, beating them in one game. I think the playing wraps up quickly on the west side. I think pardon me. Oh, well, actually, you don't know yet because I'm moving too fast ahead, because I believe that once the Lakers beat Minnesota, they will face either one of those two teams. So it'll be interesting to see who survives the matchup, in my humble opinion. It just don't make no sense. It's crazy. Dex, who do you think, who you got in that matchup? You taking the Pelicans? Let me know if you good on.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Flight. I want to say the Pelicans, but something tells me that damn SGA might have a night of his life. I think there could be a real humdinger with Shea, and him going against Brandon Ingram, bringing Josh Giddey and Dort along with him, against Brandon Ingram, Valanciunas, and CJ McCullough with a little Herb Jones stuck in that, mixed in with the gumbo to have a complete good soup. That's going to be an interesting one-off, because that's exactly what it is. So Oklahoma City is so-so on the road, and the Pelicans is so-so at home. I just think that's going to be a toss-up, and I think free throws might win that one in the end. So I'm going to lean more to the Pelicans because they are at home at the Smoothie King. And last season, they did good, but they was on a road flight. So we're gonna see what they do at the Smoothie King, and hopefully Sky could be there to give us some footage, because I think that's going to be a real doozy down there. And mark my words, if you're going to lay any chalk on that game, I will put my chalk on Shea Gilchrist Alexander, that his player performance will be met.
And listen, Dax, great call on that. I think Shea Gilgeous Alexander is going to be a dangerous threat, in my humble opinion. I'm with you. I think Josh Giddey is ready. Oh, Lord have mercy if they had Chet Holmgren. I think they take their game to the next level, in my humble opinion. I believe that this team is just getting started in the OKC Thunder. So it don't matter if they miss the postseason. I think the New Orleans Pelicans, they have to get back to the postseason. They tasted it last year. You got to keep rolling, in my humble opinion. Don't flop. I like New Orleans, and give them major credit. Give credit to the coaching staff, the organization, and everybody. Griffin, I'm giving all homage to those guys, because they should have been buried a long time ago, and look what happened. They still surviving. Give them credit, man. Zion issues. One minute is goddamn Brandon Ingram. The next minute is like they trade him spots. Whoever getting hurt. Once Zion get back healthy, Brandon Ingram will be hurt. They never been healthy at the same time for a long time. So we don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that the Pelicans will have the upper hand in that matchup. So the Western Conference is going to be looking crazy. Whoever wins this matchup will face the Denver Nuggets. And I think whoever faced them is doomed. I think Denver beats New Orleans and they beat Oklahoma City pretty bad, especially without Zion Williamson. If they had Zion Williamson, I think all bets are off and it changes everything. But right now, I don't see it. I just don't see it, in my humble opinion. But it is what it is at the end of the day. It's Flight Sports TV, man. I got the Pelicans taking them out and facing, I believe they will face the Minnesota Timberwolves, or whoever in that matchup. It could be the Lakers, so let's not move too far ahead. But I love the playing because all the teams are kind of on a collision course. Everybody's tight, in terms of competitively, and they just running into each other when they rolling at the right time. So the Western Conference is lit, man. We could even get into some of the matchups before we get into the playoff matchups. We'd be remiss not to get into what's going on out west with our lovely Chicago Bulls. We all know what's going on, man. The Bulls, man, they got to be listen. We've been crucifying Mr. Billy Donovan. We've been crucifying DeMar DeRozan. We've been crucifying Zach LaVine. And look what has happened. They have found their way to the playoffs, to the postseason. If they could get to the playoffs, I think that's even great. But I do believe that they have the upper hand here. Listen, you got DeMar DeRozan returning to Toronto. I think that's a dynamic that nobody's talking about. DeMar DeRozan never won a championship before. So these regular season games, they are playing. He's going to play this game like it's game 7 of the NBA Finals. The Raptors, to me, are a young team, despite having pieces, the Siakams of the world, the OGs. They ain't going to be easy to walk over now. But I do believe DeMar DeRozan returning to Toronto with the Bulls, I think they're a little bit ahead in their development. They have no business even being in this situation. I think for a night or two, they can get the job done. Now, facing a team like the Hawks, I don't know. Facing a team like Miami, I don't know. But Toronto, I do give them a puncher's chance in beating them. I do like the Chicago Bulls, even though the pieces are there, but something over there ain't right. And I like to know everybody's thoughts. Dex, you're in the building. What's your thoughts on this matchup, this playing scenario out east? We tackle what's going on out west. What's your thoughts on the Bulls making the postseason? Obviously, the play-in, they one step closer to the playoffs, but they are the last seed in the play-in whole scenario. What's your thoughts on the situation with Chicago? They're about to go up against the Raptors.
That's going to be a funny matchup because like I said, this is a one-off again in the Eastern Conference on the bottom tier level. And the Bulls, yes, they was kicking, crawling, and scratching. They made something happen. They snuck into the playing situation, playing bad basketball. They're under 500. And this seems like a matchup nightmare for the Chicago Bulls, but they're gonna have to really man up. I mean, come on, Billy Donovan. This I'm not really thrilled at what I'm looking at with the Chicago Bulls because they have two perennial All Stars and they're struggled to get into a playing situation, and they got in under 500, and that is not amusing to me, Flight.
Oh man, I'm with you. I mean, it damn sure ain't amusing. Ain't none of this shit amusing. If you're in the playing, including your Lakers, I think obviously they started turning on a little bit. I think if they had a little bit more games, I think they squeak into the playoffs and that 6 seed solidified. But I mean, it is what it is. They had ample time to get solidified, and they just didn't get it done. So, is it we can't cry over spoiled milk? The Lakers just didn't get the job done, but they are in the 7th seed. But I understand where you're coming from with the Bulls. You got to be a little bit disgusted. They have no business being here. Seriously, with so much high hopes. Despite they did lose Lonzo Ball, even though we all know Lonzo Ball is out. With an injury, a crazy injury, he's looking to be one of the first players to come back. From this particular surgery. We all know we've documented this situation. Who would have known that Lonzo Ball's absence would have been this immense that put the Chicago Bulls pretty much back in purgatory with all this, salary cap space. Pardon me, all this salary cap that they was just capped up with. It just was very troubling. And it seemed like they was in a hole that they can't get out of. But somehow they squeaked into the play-in to salvage their season. And I truly mean salvage the season because the season was over. Just like the Lakers, if you asked me in a couple of weeks to start the season, would they be in this situation? I'll tell you, hell no. They would have been buried. But they have found their way in to a great scenario. And like I said, they're going to be a threat come postseason time off the back of the weapons that they have. They have no business being in the play-in. They have a big three in Vucevic, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan. They can all go off for 20 plus at any given night. Now, can they come to life, man, on a one-game, win-or-go-home situation back against the wall in Toronto? I say the Bulls get the job done and at least win that first game in Toronto. Now, the Bulls are a clumsy team. I think that game goes all the way to the wire. And we'll see what happens at the end of it. But the Bulls are a clumsy team. It's all about how they can finish, But I hope that DeMar DeRozan can lead them against them. And mind you, Toronto, there's no Kawhi, but the championship pedigree is there. When you're talking Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, like I said, OG and these dudes, these guys were there, so they know how to win. Nick Nurse, you got his job on the line. I'm telling you, don't think they hearing all this, so just like everybody think the Bulls, I know Bulls fans, the city of Chicago is excited. Listen, the Raptors got their own issues. So ain't nobody feeling sorry, ain't nobody kumbayaing because the Bulls are in and just gonna walk their ass into the playoffs. Hell no, they might walk their ass out, in this playing situation, and it could be all she wrote. But give the Bulls credit for fighting and clawing to get to where they at. I think they deserve some credit. Toronto, I don't know what's up with them, but it's crazy. Both teams could have new coaches next season. Seriously, including Billy Donovan. I don't think Billy is as safe as people think, especially if they flame out right here. Because we know what you're gonna see from Billy Donovan. Why bring him back next season when you know what's gonna happen? The atmosphere, the vibe that Billy Donovan is bringing in. You got to shake it up, man. You got to get some refreshing, basketball minds in the building, in my humble opinion. Dex, who you got in that series? You taking the Raptors or the Bulls in this playing scenario? For if you let me know your thoughts, so let me know in the chat who y'all got in that playing scenario in terms of who y'all got and who's gonna win. Because I'm gonna go out on the limb and take the Bulls. I think that they move on some way somehow and extend their season. I think the Bulls could beat the Raptors. Like I said, they could run into extreme trouble. I don't know if they beat Miami, even though they've had success against Miami. I don't know about Atlanta. All of these are bad matchups in my humble opinion. But it could go either way. So shout out PM. They just extended him sadly. I know that they did, but they said that quietly. Like they didn't really bring that up to fruition like they should have. They just kind of muffled that out. Like, yeah, we brought him back, we signed him. It's almost like they did it on the low key tip. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Billy Donovan is cool. He's not a bad coach, but it's just I don't know, man. It's crazy. It says fight. Bulls beat Raptors and lose to the Hawks. That's why I said, I think the Hawks. Well, I mean, how the Hawks gonna beat the Miami Heat? I think that's it. That matchup we're gonna get into in a second. I think that's gonna be very competitive. Since I'm here in Chicago, so it was sort of news. I would rather be without Donovan. I'm telling you. I mean, I'm with you. Shout out to the Bulls fans that's keeping it real. I mean, everybody know that Billy Donovan is a problem. He don't have the makeup to coach these collection of guys. They too tough. I think Billy need to coach a team like Houston. He should go down to Houston and coach them. I don't know about the Bulls. I think the process is being accelerated. They need to get the right mind in here, who could cultivate this team. Otherwise it's just going to be more and more of the same. In my humble opinion. We could get into the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks. I think that's going to be a very great matchup, like I stated before. These are the highest seeds in the play-in out east. Miami, it's crazy. They've been a long way since when they was in the NBA Finals. Remember, this team was 2 games away from an NBA title. It seemed like that was forever. But this team is very, very formidable, in my humble opinion, and they're a true threat out east. Basil Carpenter Jr. says Heat can't score. If Heat could score, they'd be real contenders. That's another problem. They do. They defend like hell, but they do struggle offensively for whatever reason. They got to pick that up. These are things that they have to control offensively going into, the extended season. You got to be able to put points on the board. And you got Atlanta. You got a guy like Trae Young who can fill it up with some of the best of them. So they're in trouble, in my humble opinion. Trae, not only he can score it, but he can move the basketball. He get guys involved. And like I said, he could complete havoc. Both teams, could come alive. Atlanta was in the conference finals. They was knocking off teams they had no business knocking off. We can't act like that wasn't too long ago. And can they bring it together? They were never supposed to be in the play-in either. When they traded for DeJounte Murray, when they traded, 3 first-round picks, 3 or 4, one or the other, trust me, they didn't envision being in the play-in, fighting for their life in a winner-go-home scenario, with that roster. But they need some more time to get it together. That matchup between Murray and Trae Young, everybody had question marks anyway about that deal. Nobody knew for sure if it was going to be a homer, but give them time. Just like with the Dallas Mavericks, it might take another year. Guys were injured. They had a coaching change. I mean, there's a lot going on. Next season, I think we're going to get an opportunity to really see what the Atlanta Hawks are made of under the new coach Snyder. Now, Snyder coming in, bringing a whole different offense. You got the Miami Heat. Listen, I got major respect for Eric Spoelstra. I think Eric Spoelstra is probably one of the best coaches in basketball. With his decision making, he's going to have the Miami Heat ready to go. Miami will be a threat in this series. I think that Miami beats them, in this play-in matchup, and they get to the playoffs due to the pedigree of the Miami Heat. They got a true pedigree under Pat Riley. It's almost like you don't hear from him, you don't see him, but he's that's stirring everything up. And like I said, Spoelstra is an extension of Riley, one of the top coaches. Like I said, LeBron James, if LeBron would have took heed to anything Spoelstra was saying, LeBron James would have had more championships than he have now, but for whatever reason, he didn't like the control that Miami had in the offense, including Spoelstra, Riley, and things of that nature. They kind of simplified some things that made LeBron just focus on what LeBron needed to focus on. But I don't think LeBron appreciated that, at the time. But Miami, they are a first-class organization. Make no mistake about it. They have a conditioning rules for their players that other teams don't even have. See, there's a certain standard, that Miami Heat, the basketball, the style of play, the brand of basketball. And you see it clear as day. and like I said, I love what I'm seeing from Miami. They will be a true formidable threat. Dex, when you get an opportunity, let me know your thoughts on who will win that matchup involving the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks. I think that matchup is going to be deadly. It's going to be a sleeper. Everybody's looking at at the Los Angeles Lakers and the T-Wolves. But the sleeper matchup, I'm telling you, look out for the Heat and look out for the Hawks. I think that's going to be a slugfest, and let's see who survives it. The playing, man, let's put in for a reason. And like I said, a lot of these teams have no reason to be in there, man. Who the hell would have thought Miami would have been in there? Who would have thought the Bulls would have been in there? It's unfortunate, that what has happened, but it's happened. Brooklyn has survived. Look what's going on with Brooklyn and the Sixers. I think that's going to be a good matchup too. PM says OKC versus New Orleans is going to be fine. Yes, we talked about that. Let me know who you think is going to win that matchup, PM. I got the Pelicans in that matchup easily. When we get to all of these other matchups, like I said, it's like where you want to go, out west, out east. But you got the Sixers versus the Nets. I think that's going to be another sleeper. I love what I'm seeing from the Philadelphia 76ers. They got obviously the MVP, but the Nets, they got the Iron Man, Mikal Bridges. I think ever since he came to New York, it's just been a wonderful sight to see, man. They need that in Brooklyn. It's time for them to move on anyway. And now they finally got that with the pieces that they acquired, Vinny Smith and crew. They can move away from that all-star, star-studded movement that they was trying to push, because it clearly it wasn't going anywhere. It was going to take a long time for them to get to the situation that they needed to get to. But it is what it is. I love Mikal Bridges. I think he's going to play huge dividends. I think that the Nets just don't have enough firepower to go against the Sixers. But I do think they could give them a scare of their life, and they're going to show that, listen, they're going to be a threat for years to come, because when you got all of these guys, two-way guys, they don't have no specific star player, but, when you put Thomas out there, and then you have like I said, Mikal Bridges, and then you got Dorian Finney-Smith. That the versatility that's going to be on the floor is going to be retarded. And they're going to be able to switch and play multiple different positions, and they can create some problems. But at the end of the day, they have no answer for Joel Embiid, and I think Joel Embiid goes in there and just wreaks havoc and does whatever he wants to do. Hopefully Ben Simmons isn't sitting on the bench, because I'm telling you, Ben Simmons can accelerate the ass whooping. I think just the sight of Ben Simmons on the bench could make the Philadelphia 76ers apply even more pressure. That's how much disgust the city of Philadelphia has for Ben Simmons. Lord have, and he better not show up in Philly. I hope that the Nets, they step in and make sure. I don't know if he's even going to travel with I don't know what's going on with Ben Simmons. I don't know if he quit already or what, but his heart clearly is in question. Ben Simmons got to get it together. But seriously, the Nets they're a threat in this series, but the problem is the Joel Embiid dynamic. He, like I said, he probably don't even feel like he got the MVP in the bag. So he might just come out here and just tear the whole house down, because there's nobody to defend him in this matchup. This is going to be a crazy situation. And after this matchup, you know who they face? They're going to be facing the Boston Celtics. So we all know the Sixers are first round. They usually get out that first round, but come second round, they run into hell, and I expect hell for them to run back into, because they're not going to beat the Boston Celtics. That's why I'm saying the Sixers to me are a team that teases the fans, teases everybody. They get everybody all hyped up thinking that the Sixers is going to do something, and the Sixers ain't going to do shit. They're going to lose. James Harden is going to crumble. Joel Embiid might collapse at any given second. So the foundation of this team is built on Joel Embiid. I believe Joel Embiid probably got another 2 to 3 more seasons in the league playing at this level, maybe, before another catastrophic injury takes place. I don't see Joel Embiid lasting much longer at an all-star level. So I hope that he does get the MVP. I hope he can just get a championship out this whole thing, because I do not see him standing on these 2 feet this strong and sturdy for forever. We got to understand something. He was just in and out the lineup every year or so. You know, he's just now starting, and I think he's pushing himself to make sure that he's available to play. I don't think he's ready. You know, I truly believe that Joel Embiid is going to get hurt eventually. If he don't, you know, they're going to have to take it easy with him. And James Harden has to come to the rescue. James Harden cannot go out in this series leaning all on Joel Embiid. That's one thing I do not like about the trade, and ever since he has arrived in Philadelphia, it's too much leaning on Joel Embiid. You know, he need to turn back the clock and bring that Houston Rockets attitude, you know, because I think they got enough to beat Brooklyn, but they ain't got enough to beat the Boston Celtics, and damn sure don't got enough to beat Milwaukee. So look at the pathway it takes. If you're a Sixer fan thinking that this is the year, look at the pathway that you have. How in the hell do you beat Boston? We all know Boston is y'all kryptonite. Milwaukee, I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo he's just better than Giannis, unfortunately. No, pardon me. He's just better than Joel Embiid, you know, and that's the big problem that y'all have. So y'all have all of these issues, you know, taking place all at one time. But like I said, Philadelphia, let's see what happens, man. I hope that eventually they could do something, but I expect this to be the final season that Doc Rivers coaches this team, because I don't think that their season ends kindly. I think it ends horribly and viciously, you know, and they go out sad. It is what it is, man. It's unfortunate that the Philadelphia 76ers, their fate is going to go like that. It says, yes, 76ers be lucky to beat. Yes, they will be, man. That's if they get there. You know, that's if they get there, man. Brooklyn is gonna test them too, man. I'm telling you, they got a bunch of young pieces. I don't know if they can win. You know, Mikal Bridges he's been in playoff scenarios too, like Vinny Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie. These dudes been in the playoffs before, so don't expect them to come up acting like they scared. It's just they don't have the firepower. You know, I think this is a good test for Bridges. Bridges will have a night where he dropped 40. You know, he go for a nice amount of points. Bridges, I believe, is a future all-star in this league. And like he even stated, he got traded to the Brooklyn Nets he's at the right place at the right time. You know, he finally can be that star player, you know, that number one option that Brooklyn, you know, lost, you know. And mind you, he don't have the talent of Kevin Durant. Damn sure don't have the ball handling skills of a Kyrie Irving, you know, but he does play every single game. And that's what you want. You want a guy that can play every single night. You know damn sure and well he's reliable. He's going to be here, you know, and he's a two-way player. He can defend with the best of them, and he's a lights-out shooter. This dude's shooting with range. This dude Bridges is getting better and better every game. He is going to be the number one option for Brooklyn. I believe that he's the kind of player that can reel in other talent as well. I think once he starts to get that taste of being the number one option, and I'm telling you, he's going to be deadly come next season, because he's going to not only go forward with the playoffs, you know, and possibly push the Sixers, lose, have a full training camp as the number one option, you know, come into the next season. Bridges is going to be a bona fide number one threat in the NBA, putting extreme pressure on everybody that he faces in the competition. I got hope for Bridges. I like the Brooklyn Nets. We all know that they represent New York, but I didn't like the Nets as the front running team. I like the Nets as the underdogs, you know, trying to get back to prominence. And they got a great collection of young pieces that could grow together. The Brooklyn Nets have a great future. Now, my favorite series of them all, the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the New York Knickerbockers. Man, oh man, oh man. My New York Knicks, man, there's so much going on with this series right here. You know, I don't even know what the hell is going on with Julius, the man-child Randle. You know, Julius Randle, you know, it's been crazy what's going on with him. You know, but it is what it is at the end of the day. You know, the Cavaliers, they end up getting that deal for Donovan Mitchell. They got that done. Give them major credit. You know, the Knicks couldn't get the deal done. I guess they didn't want to get the deal done. You know, but it is what it is at the end of the day. You know, we got a guy by the name of Chi-Town King in the building. What's the deal? It's Flight Sports TV.
Yo, what's up, man?
Was this your first time on the channel?
No, I've been here a while. I'm busy all the time, so I don't have.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you sound familiar. We appreciate you for tuning in. And before we get into the Knicks Cavs series, anything that we was just touching on you want to go back over?
I just joined the stream. What you guys are going over the play-in tournament, or
No, well, we did go over the playing tournament. We could always go back to that. We going off the entire playoff, everything that we have at our disposal right now, and is on the screen to your right. You know, the matchups that are set, playing matchups are set. Some series we just don't know yet. It won't be
yeah?
done until the play-in, which starts this Tuesday. We stated, the Lakers, T-Wolves. Before we go back to the play-in, you just coming on to the show with me. And I see you repping Chi-Town. We'll get back to the Bulls. Let's build
I
right
have no
quick.
faith in. I have no faith in. By the way,
Okay, all right, we're going to get into it. Let's get into the New York Knickerbockers versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think this is a series that, to be honest with you, it's no rivalry, but I feel like this is going to be a rivalry. It's going to feel like they had 5-6 years rivalry that's about to come to an implosion in this series. I really, truly believe that the atmosphere, the vibe of this matchup is going to be deadly. The New York Knicks, I mean, they're a great team. They defend like holy hell. I don't know if they got the firepower. Obviously, the Knicks don't have that guy like a Donovan Mitchell or nothing like that. I'm not gonna move. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm not gonna go too crazy here to say that Julius Randle is talented as a guy like Donovan Mitchell. I think is different tiers, but I do believe that Julius is gonna be different from what we've seen from him against Atlanta. And I need to monitor his injury situation. What's your thoughts on this Cavaliers Knicks series? Because that is a series that's edged in stone. Talk to me.
I'd say out of all these series, that's probably the toughest one to dictate. I'm gonna go. It's tough, man. I'm probably gonna go with the Cavs in 7, but it could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Knicks won the series, and I think Julius Randle is gonna be available that series. So I think it's
Yes. Well, see, I don't like what I'm saying. I'm reading some stuff now. 30 minutes ago, it says that Julius Randle making steady progress with Knicks availability still in. See, that's why I said this is not good.
Yeah.
There's no way they beat. I don't like what's happening. It seemed like Julius saying now he dealing with an injury headed into. See, this changes it all. So my bad. Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Randall. It depends on Randall's situation too. I'm gonna go with the Cavs winning that series, mainly because Randall isn't gonna be available, and I just feel like they have more like firepower. Like those other guys, obviously you have Donovan Mitchell, you have Darius Garland, so they have a lot of firepower on that team, and I think that's gonna be too much for the Knicks to handle.
Well, like I said, I mean, I feel you there because, like I said, especially without Julius, I think that you need Julius healthy, ready to go. Because what good is it to have Julius coming in there broken down?
Of course.
Well, I don't want to see that. I think Julius need to sit his ass down because the last time we seen Julius in the playoffs, he embarrassed the city of New York. Not only the Knicks, he embarrassed the city of New York. You understand the state of New York. He embarrassed Knicks fans all around the country and abroad, with his performance. And the last thing we want to see is a broken down Julius Randle who can't do the basic necessities of the game of basketball. That's not the last. We don't want to see another sight of that. I would rather see Julius in a suit, sitting his ass down, getting ready for next season, than for him to come out there and embarrass himself and the city of New York once again. I can't see it again, man. Do you remember what he did against the Hawks? He embarrassed us.
Well, that series, I feel like the Hawks just had a good game plan. They just got the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, that was crazy how they did them. They had traps all over the goddamn place. You're right about that.
On top of that, that team had no
sick,
playoff
man.
experience. That team outside of D-Rose had no playoff experience either. So I didn't really have the Knicks winning that series. I knew the Hawks were going to win because all they had to do was get the ball out of Julius Randle's hand.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Julius Randle, he's a beast, but the last thing he want to have is the theme of his career is he's a man-child in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he's like a snail. He tucking his tail. We don't want to see that. He can't do that to New York again. So I think this is a serious pivotal moment in his career. Hopefully he can get back healthy, but this is a terrible timing for New York Knicks. And we've seen that Brunson and things like that, but I don't think Brunson, he's not going to have enough to go against the Cavaliers. But I'm with you. Cleveland is probably going to be the favorite in this matchup. I'm not going to be stupid. But I do give the Knicks a chance. They're going to defend like their life is on the line, but do they have enough offensive firepower? That's going to come down to it all. That's going to determine everything, in my humble opinion. So you got the Cavaliers winning in 7.
Yeah, I got the Cavaliers winning in 7.
Okay. I got the New York Knicks in 7. I'm just going to go out on the limb. But I definitely see this series going 7 games. They're going to trade, It's not going to be so easy to win in New York. It's going to be a great matchup, in my humble opinion. The Knicks better make sure they steal one in Cleveland because they're going to be trying to steal one in New York. And I just hate the Knicks, the Garden, because it's going to be the playoffs. It's going to be I could imagine game 3. Let's say the Knicks is down 0-2. I just hope that's not the case. But I just know there's knowing Knicks fans and shit. We down 0-2. It's game 3. You got everybody and their mother front row at the Garden. And you got Donovan Mitchell about to come out there. See, that's the shit I don't like about the Knicks, But I'm happy that the game 7 will be in Cleveland because I like our chances in Cleveland other than New York. If the game 7 was in New York, I think we'd be in trouble. But the fact that a game 7 will be in Cleveland, that changes everything. The Knicks got to steal one in Cleveland, though, because they're going to get one in New York. Trust me. They're going to get one. Donovan Mitchell going to have himself a night in New York. And we just got to make sure that we sustain ourselves. It's gonna be pivotal. That series is gonna be deadly. I got the Knicks in 7. You just rolled in here, so I'm pretty sure you want to get to the plan. You brought up your Bulls. You said you had no faith in your Bulls. What's up with that?
First of all, I thought we were better off tanking because with us tanking, so this is what happens. That trade we made for Vucevic, if we get outside a top 4 pick, we have to give it to Orlando. If we get a top 4 pick, we keep that pick. And the Bulls' record right now, they don't really have a chance to get that. So that's why I'm kind of pissed. I kind of wished that the Bulls management to shut down Levine and DeRozan, like Portland shut down Damian Lillard, so we would have a chance to pick. But now I don't see them getting a top 4 pick, and I don't see them being the Raptors either.
I mean, I like the Raptors. I think they got a good squad. Just like the dynamics of the other series, like I was just stating, you have a return, DeMar DeRozan returning back to Toronto. Last time I checked, Masai Ujiri is still, a part of that front office. But last time I checked, Masai Ujiri traded DeMar DeRozan and ended up winning the championship while DeMar DeRozan had to sit and watch it. DeMar DeRozan is returning to the play-in with the Raptors ahead, and he's coming back home to Toronto. I'm going with DeMar DeRozan to go out there and single-handedly take the Toronto Raptors out off of those dynamics alone. I want everybody to remember all of the things that I just stated. So I got the Bulls. I'm gonna roll with the Bulls in that. I'm not gonna root against them. I love Lonzo Ball. That's his team. So I mean, I'm gonna be rooting for Chicago. I'm not gonna root against him.
Ever since he got hurt, this whole Bulls team just imploded without him.
Oh yeah, I mean it's been a dumpster fire. I mean they stay falling and slipping and they can't get up. I mean it's damn near pitiful. What we seeing. I mean seriously, I don't think we've ever seen something like this in all the years of basketball where you have a team completely collapse like this off one guy. It shows you how pivotal he was. He wasn't appreciated the way he should have been appreciated. And it sucks though because we'll never know how that team could have finished. I don't even know if that team would necessarily won the championship, but I do know it would have been a threat in the East. Now where, I don't know.
Oh, they definitely would have been like where a team. They would have been like on a level of the Knicks or Cavs. I feel like.
Yeah, I think they would have been in the mix.
Because even last year too, they were a number 1 seed last year in the middle of the year, and then when Lonzo got hurt, they fell off and went down to 7th.
You're right. No, that you're right about that. They went down to 7th. Like I said, they was right there. Like if there was any more games, they would. No, I think they finished 6th. Pardon me. If there were any more games, they would have finished in the play-in. So they were stumbling and bumbling, and they pretty much picked off.
Oh yeah, you're right. They finished 6th. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they didn't go to the play-in. They stumbled and bumbled. And they picked up off pretty much right where they left off because to start this season, they picked up right off from last season, and I blame that on coaching. That's why I'm saying Billy Donovan shouldn't be safe because they picked up a horrible play right where they left off. Don't you think?
Yeah, and another guy too. Patrick Williams, that pick was. I don't know why the Bulls even picked him. Why don't we go with Tyrese Halliburton?
Oh, what'd you say?
No, and another pick the Bulls messed up on. I don't know why they picked Patrick Williams, the guy who didn't even start in college, over a guy like Tyrese Halliburton. Could you imagine Tyrese Halliburton with this Bulls team?
No, I know that would have been crazy. I mean, if Tyrese
Yeah.
Halliburton, that would have been wild. But it shows you the decision making.
Yep.
It makes no sense.
Yep. But for me personally, I don't have faith in this Bulls team. Even if they do somehow get out of the play-in, they're not beating the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Milwaukee Bucks, that's going to be an intriguing situation. The Bulls, that would be a rematch. Now I'm looking at that situation. So whoever wins that will face the Milwaukee. That will be a running back situation. And I expect them to lose just as miserably as they lost last year, maybe worse. Milwaukee's an even better team this season, and the Bulls are even worse. So I mean, I don't know. You don't know what version of Chicago you're going to get. The Bulls are a good team when they want to be, and they could be a laughing stock when, if they choose to be as well. So, like I said, this series could go a multitude of different directions. It's playing, but I'm going to roll with Chicago. But I feel you said you have no faith in the Bulls, and you from Chicago, correct?
Yeah, and like I said, I could go on a whole rant for another hour about this, but it is what it is. I kind of wish we tanked so we could have a chance to get Victor, but
I mean, how the hell? I mean, that would have been tough to do. It's no telling the way the draft is set up. I mean, does tanking even give you even much of a chance? The NBA shifted all of that with the way they do in the draft now, so they negated a lot of this stuff that people are trying to do.
Well, even then too, if you get a top 4 pick, if you get a guy like Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller, I'm okay with that. But I don't even see this team getting top 4, and we have to give that pick to Orlando because of the Vucevic trade, which was an awful trade in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. I mean, y'all do need a guy like who the center y'all traded for. See, y'all should let him develop. Y'all was jumping the gun. What was his name?
Wendell Carter.
Yes, y'all need a center like him, Wendell Carter, and Wendell is starting to stretch out his range too. He hitting the 3 ball. Y'all just had to be a little bit patient. He's a better defender. He's active. He's a good screen and roll guy. So Wendell is a great player. So I mean that's a wild situation. Unstoppable says the front office didn't mess up. They knew they were getting Zoe. That's why they didn't draft Tyrese. That's what he stated.
But even then, why would you go with a guy who hadn't even started in college?
Oh, who you talking about, Tyrese?
No, I'm talking about Patrick Williams.
Right. So who did you want them to get in that spot?
We're talking Patrick Williams.
Yeah, I'm saying instead of Patrick Williams, we should have won with Tyrese Halliburton.
And Unstoppable, how you figure they was getting something? How you figure that?
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, like I said, Unstoppable. I mean, my man from Chicago. Go ahead, Dex. But my man from Chicago was talking about he wanted the Bulls to tank for Wembanyama. But I mean, like I was stating, there's no telling. But he did state he wanted somebody a high pick. It wasn't just Wembanyama. He would have been fine with Scoot, the rest of the guys and everything. So I understand. Hold on, we got a guy in here by the name of Goat James. What's the deal?
What's good?
What's good? This your first time on the channel?
On this, man. I'll be around on other channels though.
Okay, well, I appreciate you for tuning in with us, man. How long you been rocking with the channel? You just found it today?
Yeah, I did, man. I did. I love sports, so as soon as I catch a sports channel, man, I like to see what you guys got going on.
Listen, we got something going on every single night, man. We got some of the best guys, best talkers in the business. Listen, I want to appreciate you for rocking with Flight Sports TV, man. Make this your home. You just stumbled to the right place. We do this every single night. Listen, where you calling from? Where you calling from? Well, he's still on here. He muted his mic. But just when you get an opportunity, let me know where you calling from. But back to Chicago, my man from Chi-Town. You was just stating all that craziness. You just imploded, and you got the Bulls fans rolling in here, and they rolling in very upset. you know, from what he said involving the front office. You know, unstoppable. I know you heard what this man stated about your team. You know,
no, I ain't hearing what he said.
Oh, well, he said that he wanted the Bulls to tank, you know, but he didn't like, and he hated the trade, you know, for what was they traded for Vucevic. They hated that, but it is what it is. But before we get into that, Goat James, you back?
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, we got disconnected right quick. Where you from again?
I'm from Arizona.
Shout out, Goat James from Arizona.
What do you say?
Make sure you tune in with us. So, what's your thoughts on this topic?
We'll give him some.
Wait. I want to respond to Eric B. Eric B says, "How you tanking for Wemby with a max player?" Well, why did the Portland Trailblazers shut down Damian Lillard and all those other guys?
I mean, they shut it down at the last game. I mean, well, we got 2023 NBL playoff predictions. Pardon me. We have predictions, and we breaking down the bracket.
I got Clippers out in 5 or 6.
You got Clippers?
No, I got Suns winning in 5 or 6. So,
okay, we didn't get into that series, bro. I mean, shit, we could definitely do that now that you done brought her up. But before we get into that series,
for a little bit.
I know that's what I'm about to do. Before we get into the Suns, we want to pick back up on the Chicago Bulls.
No, I was responding to Eric B. Eric B said, "How are you going to tank for Wemby with a max player?" Why did the Portland Trailblazers shut down Damian Lillard and all those other guys so they could get Wemby?
Oh man, everybody want Wemby, bro.
I mean, if the Bulls are smart, they do what the Portland Trailblazers did. If the Portland Trailblazers could do it with Damian Lillard, who's a way better player than Zach LaVine,
it would have been too obvious.
Why can't the Bulls do the same?
It would have been too obvious.
I mean, shit, the Mavericks get
what?
On the Mavericks get investigated.
You gotta do one at a time. Like one of y'all choose who's gonna say something. What?
No, I said the Portland Trailblazers, what they're doing is obvious as well. What the Spurs are doing is obvious as well. So I don't get how that makes sense that if the Bulls did, it'd be obvious. I mean, other teams are doing
so what
it
you gonna do? You gonna sit down Boots, right?
I'd sit down
Zach LaVine, right?
And DeRozan.
And you gonna sit down DeRozan, right? That's too obvious. That's too obvious.
Yeah, but Portland shut down Damian Lillard. That's obvious too.
I mean, they might face the consequence for that, but they still got what's the buddy name? Grant. They still got their other pieces playing. So you saying you gonna sit down your three stars? No, I would say sit them down from the last 2 games because your percentage jump up to 13% to give Victor Wembanyama. But you talking about
unstoppable. You know Dallas is under investigation by the NBA.
Under investigation. I figured they was gonna be under investigation
because they said way too many players to up their chances to a 4.6% to get.
They had a guy on the injury report. They had a guy on the injury report. They just put it as rest.
Hey, you're actually wrong about Blazers. They benched Anthony Simmons. They benched Jeremy Grant. They benched Nurkic. They did bench.
When did they bench them?
Today.
That's one game, bro. It's like what? That's the last game. You talking about one game, fam? Really?
No, but they did bench Nurkic some other games. They benched those other guys too.
Okay, how many games did they bench them?
Well, Nurkic and Anthony Simmons haven't played these last couple games.
What's a couple? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Like
7,
the last,
8?
Yeah, something around that. I don't know the exact, but
I need
these other guys like
bro.
Anthony
We're gonna
Simmons.
talk about that. I need the exact. Because you talking about, I get what you saying. But what I'm saying is, fam, you talking about 10 games, I guess, 10 plus games. That's too obvious, bro. They would have got investigated. And we talking about Dallas getting investigated from sitting down.
Hey, Portland Trailblazers, the fact that they sat Damian Lillard out, they need to get.
They might get investigated. It might happen. You never know. But I'm like, it's different when you making it too obvious. Like I said, what I would have did was these last 2 games, I would have made sure they lost them games, but because it would have jumped their chances to 13%. I want to know.
And what part of the bracket we gonna talk about?
They very well still maybe can get a top pick. They get lucky. I mean, they have 1% to get D Rose there. But I mean, I get what you're saying as far as tank, but.
We talking about the whole bracket right now. We're discussing the Bulls. We're gonna get to what you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, no, I'll go with what you guys talking about. I got the Bulls winning, and I got the Heat winning, So then they're gonna play the Hawks, and I got the Bulls beating the Hawks.
You know, so like I said, like you said earlier, I know Dex. The last thing I heard was Dex was saying how I figured that about Zoe. I mean, come on, man. They knew they had a strong shot against Zoe. They ain't gonna, you know. And Patrick, like I said, everybody judging Patrick. I mean, once DeMar gone, you're gonna see him play a whole totally different. Just like you see him play totally different. Who do we play? Dallas. When you see him play different with Dallas, he was more aggressive. He was aggressive when he played the Trailblazers when they went in the game. Like you can't judge nobody and say they're a bust and they're a bad pick and not even a fourth option really when you really want to.
No, I didn't call him a bust. I said that we should.
No. I know. You know, I said a bust. But I'm talking about folks out there that say he might a bust and they say he a bad pick. It's like what you expect him to do when you got two people on the team that's ball dominant, and you got DeMar that's going to dribble the air out the ball. He's just trying to play his role right now, fam. So I say if they trade, what Casey Johnson is talking about how they definitely might trade DeMar. Once DeMar is gone and you slide him in to get more touches or whatnot, I mean, he's the best 3-point shooter on the team that's available when it comes to the percentage, and you're not even running no plays with him. So I get back on track. So like I was saying, once DeMar is gone, then you judge him. If he don't get it done and now you get touches and you a part of the offense even more, then we can say, okay, I think he was the wrong pick. And not only that, they couldn't even slide down and pick Patrick Williams because other teams wanted him. So it's like, come on now.
I was just saying that. I mean, you're kind of right, but I did feel like there were some better players. Like we could have gotten like Tyrese Halliburton, who broke out this year. He would have been a great fit with the Bulls.
I mean, again, they knew they were going to get Zoe. I feel like that. They knew
how you figure those unstoppable?
Let me finish. I said I figured that they knew they had a strong chance against Zoe. A strong chance against him. All right, come on now. They knew they needed a point guard. They've been trying to get Zoe since he entered the draft. They was going to try to get him by any means necessary.
I mean, of course, because they got an infraction based on their eagerness to acquire Zoe and cost him a second-round draft pick for tampering.
Hey, if by the way the team was running, how they was balling, if I remember right, that they got penalized when they in that season that they got Zoe, it was worth it. I mean, you getting a 6-inch playmaker point guard that's gonna play A1 defense, gonna run your offense. Shit, who cares about getting penalized for a pick?
I agree.
Not even a high draft pick of that. So
I agree. I think the Bulls got off light. I agree. There was a slap on the wrist. But now, when you mention that high octane offense that the Chicago Bulls ran last season in the first portion of that season, Patrick Williams was not a part of that.
Patrick Williams, he wasn't a part of it. You only got to see him 4 games before he got hurt. And like we said, we can name the players. Just name two of my names, Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram, and we know what Zoe did to up their game to get them. What's wrong? And how they was playing. You can't tell me he wouldn't have did that for Patrick Williams. I mean, like I said again, like we judge. What's this? I mean, you kind of. I mean, I get it, but it's like, come on now, we got to be fair. Like y'all watching the same games I'm watching when it comes in. It was like, what do you expect that he's not gonna do that much when you got these two guys on that team? And again, like I said, he's the best 3-point shooter on the team when it comes to percentage, and nothing's being ran for him. It's like, come on now.
Only thing I'm saying is this right here. When it comes to the Chicago Bulls, when they went on that epic run, when it was a plus 12-point differential, either that was a fluke or because of Alonzo, everything collapsed. But even if it was so, either or, regardless of what spectrum you're going to enter from, Patrick Williams was not a part of that equation. So therefore, if they want to attain that success again, then they're going to have to use that same blueprint. And if they use that same blueprint, Unstoppable, Patrick Williams was not chalked in.
I mean, okay, like you
so
said,
you might as well
wasn't a
trade him
part
and get
of.
something, right? Get some more defense.
I mean, it's only a couple of players that I would introduce him, entertain into trading him for, but I'm willing to roll the dice, and if he turns out to be the player that I think he can be, then it was worth it. We're gonna be talking about, hey, Unstoppable was right. They should have.
But Unstoppable 2020. I mean, hindsight is 2020. We understand that aspect. You can't project that on every player that you draft. That's going to be a bingo. Some players you're going to hit, some players you're going to miss. But if you hold on to them too long, then their value decreases by you not allowing them to flourish in a certain system. So if he's not going to flourish in your system, then why hold on to him? Let him flourish somewhere else. And then you attain players that will flourish in your system. That you can plug up some of these holes, like rim protection, perimeter defense, and things of that nature. And I think Patrick Williams can anchor a trade for you guys to acquire quality players that will prevent you from being under 500 and a bottom slot in the play-in tournament with two perennial all-stars at one time vying for MVP in the same season.
No, like I said, well, for one, they got to get a point guard. There's no more. You ate it all. Nothing left. Go ahead and finish watching your show.
But that's my point, Unstoppable. If Lonzo Ball was a point guard during this auspicious episode, Patrick Williams played a minimal part. So if he played a minimal part, then he is not needed when Lonzo Ball come back if you're going to keep those same veterans that got you to that point where you was a number one seed. That's the only thing I'm saying. Even Kobe White was a part of it, so I understand if you don't want to get rid of Kobe White because he was a part of it, bringing bench points. So you can integrate Kobe White into that blueprint. But when you talk Patrick Williams, he wasn't part of that blueprint that was successful for the Bulls. That's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a bad player.
No,
I know when they drafted him, he was a project. But when you the first round, number 4 overall pick, come on, bro, you can't play fourth fiddle.
But most of the time when those players are drafted, that's how you right. They not the fourth fiddle. He's not even a fourth fiddle if you really want to break it down. So what I'm saying is this: if you get rid of that's what I'm saying, you gotta look at it like this. Like I told you earlier, everybody's saying, trade Zach. What I say? You don't trade Zach right now because Zach trade value, even though you get something decent, you can get something way better because I know this is not the Zach you're gonna get.
I don't ever think you should trade Zach. I don't believe that. I'm not going for that.
Well, you had some.
I think Zach is a cornerstone for the Chicago Bulls for the future.
So what I'm saying is this. Okay, thank you for your service, DeMar. But I'm gonna go ahead and trade you and get some of these rim protection and stuff you just said earlier. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna see if I can get something closer to get 2 of those things, or at least one, and then I'm gonna try to get some free agents. What I want to do is this: I'm gonna sign P. Will or whatnot. He ain't been playing that well, we can say. So I should have to
in this system. I'm only speaking about in this system, the Chicago Bulls
system. Still gonna look different unless you get a point guard like Zoe. If you're not getting a point guard like Zoe, there's no guarantee the system's gonna be the same. So the system's still gonna look different.
Stop, brother. You speaking gospel right there. I love what you just said, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
Right. So Now we got to get another point guard, and we got to see how this system gonna look with him. And I'm going to take my chances because I know I have a good feeling what his ceiling could be if he plays aggressive and if he getting enough and you let him play his game. So I'm gonna move the Mars gone. Now the clock is on you. It's either we made a good pick or we made a bad pick.
Well, I'm gonna say it like this.
I'm not about to draft. I'm not about to trade him right now.
Right. Listen, I'm gonna say it like this. If Zoe returns or when Zoe returns, and he is very near 100% and he is confident in his rehab, Patrick Williams have to be initiated in trade talks. Because when Zoe comes back, DeMar is getting older. So his value decreases because he's becoming a relic. But on the part of DeMar that I can compliment him is that DeMar DeRozan is not afraid. DeMar DeRozan have been down through the thickets of the playoffs. So he has that experience. So you can't just relinquish him to any team. Vooch really doesn't have that experience like DeMar. Vooch has been in the playoffs, but first round exit. You follow what I'm saying? Zach been in the playoff, first round exit. So the only person that's comparable to DeMar DeRozan on that team that I feel is valuable with a mindset of a deep run in the playoff is Alex Caruso. So I think you retained Alex, you retain DeMar, you retain Zach, you retain everybody, and you contemplate. I'm talking about when Lonzo come back, and you contemplate releasing either Kobe and Patrick, or you contemplate releasing Patrick and Vooch.
No, Dex. Listen. Alex gone. He's out there.
Oh, this is what I want to do because we got to move on from this one. This is what I want to do also, Unstoppable. We're going to see how valuable Patrick Williams is in truth when he face off against his former teammate, Scotty Barnes, in college. Because both of these two are comparable because they went to the same school, had the same coach, and basically got drafted around the same slot in the first round. Both of them are lottery picks from Florida State University. So let's see how Scotty Barnes and Patrick Williams fare off against each other, and we can see the real value of Patrick Williams in the play-in tournament. 1 for all for one. 10th seed versus 9th seed Toronto Raptors, because they will be on the road. So we're going to see how Patrick Williams gut this out. I know DeMar DeRozan should have a decent game because this is his former team.
Well, I got a couple of things I want to say.
Who do you have winning this game? I have the Raptors.
I'm going to say this. Then I'm going to go speak on the Raptors. Because, buddy, I didn't get to say my reason why. DeMar will be gone. Alex Caruso will be gone because Alex Caruso, he be hurt too much. So I'd rather get him in to Dalen Terry or whatnot. And he's really not – Alex really not even shooting that good behind the three-point line. Vooch, I think Vooch will walk. Expect a different team. And I'm not going to keep DeMar in a stop my fourth pick from developing. DeMar is, 34 years old versus somebody that's 21 years old, 21. I'd rather, like I said, trade DeMar, get some of the pieces that you said earlier, Dex. See what can I give him and retool this team and wait. And I hate to say it, I don't want them to do it, but I think they will. I think they might exercise that and do that injury thing with Zoe, that career injury thing. I forget what it's called, to get some more money on the books. I could be wrong, but we got to wait and see on that. And as far as Toronto, I honestly think they're going to lose to Toronto. Patrick may play a decent game, but this team, they got some changes to make, bro. And but what I'm seeing, I'm not liking. So I wouldn't be shocked if they lose when they play Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they'll lose.
In my opinion, people are going to disagree with me, but I'd say just blow this whole team up because this team ceiling is low. Unless you get a star player, which looking at the free agency, there's not a big free agency market. The only great players out there is probably James Harden and Kyrie, and that's not going to do it. So at this point, I feel like you have to blow the team up.
Next year is a good free agency
So we call that LeBron that shit. When you say blow the team up, we call that LeBron that shit because we know LeBron, he blows teams up.
No, I'm just saying start from scratch.
I don't think
start from scratch. Chicago Bulls? Oh no, that's not gonna happen.
They need to retool, bro.
Listen, my bro, you have to understand the market that Chicago Bulls are in. They are in a major market, the third largest city in the United States, seaport, metropolitan area, a pillar city. They're not fin to reboot the Chicago Bulls while they're in the midst of just one or two players getting over the hump and being competitive with Milwaukee, Boston, and Philadelphia.
No big star. Kevin Garnett said it best. He said he had a chance to come to Chicago. He said that what they did to Jordan and those other guys in the 90s, the fact that they blew that team up, he said, why would I go to that team when they pretty much pushed away the greatest player of all time? So because of that, no star player is ever going to come to Chicago.
I agree with you on that, but since they got a new front office, they're trying to do a culture change. I think people gonna look past that. But like I want to say, and this goes to Dex. When I said I would entertain a trade when it come to P. Will, now I said this before, and I'll say it again. I have a strong belief that Jaylen Brown will leave the Celtics. If you had to do a signing trade to get Jaylen Brown on Chicago, I might go ahead and go ahead. We got to cut ties with Patrick Williams because it's Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown and I don't think Jason Tatum is that much better than Jaylen Brown. I think they're really neck and neck, and I think Jaylen Brown actually could be better than Jason Tatum if you give him a chance to show you that he can be. So if that comes up, then I might entertain that. I'm like, all right, Patrick.
That's interesting. That's interesting that you mentioned Jaylen Brown because I had somewhat of a NBA epiphany when it came to Jaylen Brown because he seems like a man that's on the outs, that's not really appreciated in his own city. Now, I don't think he'd go to Chicago, but I feel if Jaylen Brown was to get mixed up in some kind of trade, I'm thinking Golden State with their package. What's his name? What's the Splash Brother? Second Splash Brother, Thompson. Klay Thompson with something, or Jordan Poole with something, and to acquire Jaylen Brown based on the fact that Jaylen Brown is very familiar with the Bay Area. I know he's a Georgia boy. Also, people's trying to say he might go to Atlanta. I don't think so. I don't think that's not going to happen. I don't think they're going to trade Javonte Murray, for Jaylen Brown and some.
They might trade Trey
to go home. But listen, Jaylen Brown might also be in a Miami Heat uniform because Miami Heat, even though they have Tyler, he's no Jaylen Brown. Follow what I'm saying? And if they can't acquire Brandon Ingram, who I think is their prize choice, because I think he fits the Miami Heat to the core. He's a very tough as nails guy, even though he have a calm demeanor apparently, but we know he throw them bows. And that's what Patrick Riley loves about a Brandon Ingram. Now, Butler would love to play with a man who's willing to put it all on the line, even if you have to throw them bows, put mitts on people with the Brandon Ingram. Plus, he's a poor man, Kevin Durant. Brandon Ingram will fit perfectly in Miami with the culture that he brings. Listen to what I'm saying. The culture that Brandon Ingram brings, I'm talking about his affiliation off the court, will be a superlative fit for the Miami Heat if they go at him aggressively. Because I don't think Gail Benson is ready to pay all this much money to Brandon Ingram for another contract, and the Pelicans are a first-round exit. So if the Pelicans lose in this play-in, which is quite possible, that Brandon Ingram probably be out of there. And so Miami could acquire him because Miami's only missing one piece to get back to the NBA Finals. And Duncan Robinson is not it. So those are two destinations. Those are two players with one destination that could be very attractive to Jaylen Brown and a Brandon Ingram, pending a Tyler Hero package trade. Maybe throw in some Duncan Robinson too, because Duncan Robinson do need a new location to get his mind right. Because right now he's in a sunken place. So keep that in mind, how these two teams fare out, Miami and the New Orleans Pelicans, because it could be a vicious trade between these two teams. Or the
Hey man, let's talk
Celtics.
about some
I'm not
playoffs,
worried
man.
much about Boston.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Boston because Boston is
We
competitive.
talking about trades, bro. Let's talk about the playoffs.
Hold on, man. You can't be interrupting. You got the flow, bro.
Well, we mainly kind of in the play-in and the playoffs, and that content is kind of relevant to both play-in and playoff, but more so the play-in because the Pelicans, they're on the verge of being eliminated, and so we have to take that into consideration. They have to win two playoff games. Two play-in games. They taking the same road they took last season, and I don't know if lightning can strike in a bottle twice.
Hey, my stuff was breaking up. You said the Pelicans, right?
Yes, the Pelicans. They got to play two play-in games.
Is Zion playing?
No.
No, Zion is not available for the play-in tournament.
He's most likely not even going to be in the playoffs if they
Yeah,
somehow get there.
per David Griffin. And that's disappointing. Do you all agree? That's disappointing that Zion.
Of course.
Yeah, it is. I didn't think that his injury was that serious.
Another guy too, Paul George. I think Paul George's injury is worse than what they're making it out to be. I don't think he's going to play a single game in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he's done as well. They probably have to reach NBA Finals for Paul George to come back, and that'll just be a miracle in itself. But the Los Angeles Clippers, my brother, they are still competitive. You see what they did with the Phoenix Suns. They could have laid down because they niched in the 5th seed anyway. They're not going to move. They could have moved if a whole lot of stuff happened to the 6th seed, but they could have rested their player. You know what I'm saying? They could have rested on their laurels and just accepted where they're at. But they got players on the sideline fighting each other based on missed assignments.
Same with the
I'm talking about Mason Plumlee.
Who they play the first round?
The Suns.
Oh, it's a wrap. The Suns gonna whoop their ass, man.
Well, we're gonna see. This is why the tension was so high, and I think they played the Suns in the desert. They played them down there in the cactus fields, and they won. So I think that boosted their moral, even in the absence of Paul George, that they can compete with the mighty Phoenix Suns down there in the cactus field in that desert. Because if that game didn't mean anything, brothers, why would there be a scuffle on the sideline in the 3rd quarter?
Yep.
So the Clippers ain't playing. You see what they did to the Lakers in the Battle of LA.
It's the Lakers, man.
Yeah, Yeah, you laughing, but this was without Paul George,
Yeah, I
though.
know.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, I thought the Lakers were going to spank them boys without Paul
They
George.
should have won.
One of the best
Yeah.
two-way players in the NBA still. You know what I'm saying? And Paul George can play both ends of the court and still give you 30 and 8, 38 and 6. You know what I'm saying? So that is a weapon that the Los Angeles Clippers is going to be without. So I thought the Lakers would probably have it pretty smooth with them, and they smacked the Lakers, even though the Lakers were playing them on a back-to-back.
That was a good win for the Lakers because I think they're trying to avoid the Suns. So that kind of worked out in their favor, but they do have to be in the play-in. But I think they beat the Memphis Grizzlies.
Say that again?
I think the Lakers beat the Memphis Grizzlies in 6 games.
Yeah, that's what Flight have the Lakers advancing from that round. But listen, my brother, listen. Check this out. How wonderful of a season that the Lakers had with all of the teetering on the brink of collapse, with the tumultuous presence of the pestilence of Russell Westbrook, where Darvin Ham damn near had to take a hiatus like Tyronn Lue did with Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, this was a crazy season, seesawing, going through the vicissitudes of the journey that the Lakers did and come out with a home court play-in game to advance to be the 7th seed in the Western Conference playoff series. I mean, isn't that crazy within itself? Such a story to tell about the Los Angeles Lakers and the health of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and then the trades, that miraculous trade. This trade can be almost as important of the Paul Gasol trade when the Lakers went on their epic run to 3 straight NBA finals, winning 2 out of 3 back-to-back. With the trade with Utah Jazz and Minnesota, acquiring Vanderbilt, Beasley, and reacquiring D'Angelo Russell. They get rid of one Russell and get another Russell.
I just feel like Russell Westbrook was just a horrible fit to that team because they couldn't space the floor, and he was a liability for them. And now you have guys that can actually shoot the 3 now. So I feel like Westbrook being off that team pretty much helped that team.
I agree. I just was a bad fit. I think it was a bad fit. I think Russell Westbrook needs to be unleashed, and he damn sure wasn't going to be unleashed under LeBron James' watch.
They got him to be the fall guy.
No, his stats showed that he was not necessarily the fall guy.
No, he just didn't. I'm not saying he's a bad player or anything. He just didn't fit. Like him and LeBron, they're both ball handlers. I mean, both are not good players off the ball. So I knew even when they got together, that wasn't going to work.
Hey, bro, I said it. They should have got Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield would have fit perfectly with LeBron, but
the Lakers?
Yeah.
They had a
No,
chance.
no, we don't want no Buddy Hield. No way.
Nah, Buddy Hield would have been perfect for LeBron.
No, they had a chance to get
Please do not put Buddy Hield on the Lakers.
Oh, man, Buddy Hield would have been perfect.
No, that's what they need. No. You know what? They got what they need. They got 3 players.
I mean,
They got
I said they wind up trading him, wind up working out, but I just would have got, if it was for me, and it was the choice between Buddy Hield or Russell Westbrook, I'm getting Buddy.
If the Lakers would acquire Buddy Hield, right?
You Biden, Dex, you Biden.
If the Lakers would acquire Buddy Hield, only one player who don't play defense.
What you say?
You follow me? They got 3 players.
No, I'm saying
I said, if the Lakers would acquire Buddy.
Go ahead.
I said if the Lakers would acquire Buddy Hield, they would have got 1 decent player who don't play defense. But what they did, they bypassed that need and got 3 integral parts where you got D'Angelo Russell can handle the ball, play the 2, and can score, stretch the offense. And you got a defensive player. And then you got Beasley, who's a little bit of both. Vanderbilt, the defensive player, and you got Beasley, who's a little bit of both. So they got all these combination of talent at their beck and hand than going to get Buddy Hield, who just a one-trick pony.
No, I get that. Like I said, it wound up working out, but I'm saying in the beginning, remember, it was a choice between Russell Westbrook and Buddy Hield. I would have went with the Buddy, me personally, because he fits the playing style of LeBron James, where Buddy doesn't need the ball to score. So we don't know how that would have turned out. It's just the Russell Westbrook thing just didn't turn out good because everybody know why. But I mean, like I said, they flipped him and got the pieces they got now. But like I said, I just would have got Buddy because it's like that's a no-brainer. So I mean, like I said, it still wound up working out. Y'all got them pieces, Gerald Vanderbilt, Beasley, D'Angelo. It's all wound up working out for y'all. I don't see how, but how the hell
me personally,
call me crazy.
Call me crazy. I got this team going to the Western Conference Finals.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Nah.
I think they beat the Grizzlies, and I think they beat the Warriors.
The Warriors.
Wow, that would be insane.
No, but here's the thing about the Warriors
too. That's a toss-up.
The Warriors have no rim protection. Who's on that team going to stop Anthony Davis?
Looney.
Kevon Looney?
Looney Tunes. Oh no, that's gonna be a good game. They're
gonna use Draymond Green to take out Anthony Davis. That would be their ploy.
If this was
Draymond Green do something stupid, take out Anthony Davis, and then Golden State feel that they could beat the Lakers with what is left of them, minus Anthony Davis. That's what I think that they're gonna do. They're gonna do some skullduggery of Draymond Green doing some stupid crap, and Anthony Davis fall into his ploy, and he end up getting ejected, and Draymond get ejected, and now Anthony Davis mentally is turned into a whirlwind of trying to figure out how he's going to get his mentality back to be dominant after what Draymond Green does to tick him off.
A quick question. Adams had a knee injury, right?
Yeah, he's most likely not going to play the first round.
What was his knee injury? You know what it was?
I think it's his back, right?
No, I think he had a knee injury.
No, yeah, it was a knee injury. I don't know what it was.
Oh, it's a knee? Okay, it's a knee.
Yeah, but they're saying he's most likely going to be out for the whole season.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Which hurts them because now Jaren Jackson's going to get in foul trouble with Anthony Davis.
Nah, in fact, I don't think, I forgot they got that game that series might go 7. If
the Grizzlies did have Steven Adams, that would have given him a way better chance. But I don't trust Jaren Jackson guarding Anthony Davis. He's a foul. He always gets in foul trouble.
But they let him play a little bit more in playoffs, so they.
No, but he always gets in foul. If you notice, he always gets.
Yeah, he does. I know that. But like I said, in the playoffs, it's a different thing. They let him play a little bit.
I mean, you're playing the Lakers, who have the most free throw attempts in the season so far.
Oh yeah. So yeah.
So we all know
Anthony Davis be a good matchup.
I won't. Let me propose this question right here. Who do you like in the Eastern Conference between the 7 and 8 Miami and Atlanta, and whoever lose that one plays a winner of 9 and 10, and who advanced from that?
I have the Raptors. I have Miami getting 7th. The Raptors will beat the Bulls and then beat the Hawks to get the 8th.
Okay.
And the Raptors should be a better team, but they had so many injuries this year, which is why they were so bad in the standings. But I think the Raptors getting an 8. I don't see them beating Milwaukee. I think they could probably get in a game or 2, but I think that's their ceiling. They lose in the first round, and I take 6 games to Milwaukee.
Okay. Milwaukee's definitely a potent team, but Milwaukee did not finish the season as the number 1 power ranking team in NBA.
No, I thought they did.
That was given to the Celtics.
No. When the Bucks beat us, that locked them in for the number 1.
Even though Milwaukee had the number 1 overall record.
No, I could have sworn when they
So
beat
Milwaukee
Chicago,
will have home court advantage throughout the playoff and the finals.
Dex, it's the Bucks. The Bucks when they beat Chicago, it locked them in for the number 1 seed. They finished.
No, I'm not saying the number 1 seed. I'm power ranking.
Okay. Okay.
I'm talking about strength of team.
Who's number 1?
Boston.
I mean, they did kill them the other week by like, what was it, 40?
Yeah, I think that's how Boston got to number 1. Because when they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, they supplanted them as the number 1 power ranking team in the NBA.
You think? Second. Hold on. Let me see these standings. I think we will get a rematch between Celtics and the Bucks, right?
Yeah.
Those are my 2 teams in the I think the Celtics beat the 76ers because they're just. I actually have the Celtics going to the NBA Finals.
Again.
Ah, damn! You think you got them beating the Bucks again?
Yeah, I just think they're a better matchup, top to bottom.
So, who you got coming out the West then?
The Phoenix Suns.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I say. I think they're gonna win it all. Be honest with you.
But that's if they're healthy. If Kevin Durant gets injured, which could happen, he is injury prone. They have no chance to win anything. But if he's healthy, the Suns should get there.
Yo, Flight, somebody backstage. G-Money backstage.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay. How you doing, my brother?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Yes, sir. Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Chi-Town's friend, G-Money. I have my own show called The Last Laugh Podcast with me, Biggie, Prince, and Z. You can check me out. You know, I met Chi-Town at Prince Sports Channel. You know, salute everyone.
Yes, sir. Okay, like the stream, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss one iota of an exuberant experience.
Right.
You fell right into the right spot at Flight Sports TV. We love to hear what you got to say. You're on, brother.
Thank you. And you just got another subscriber. Just subscribe. Just click the like. You guys have an awesome. You guys are awesome. You guys are humble, passionate. You guys bring juicy stories. You tell the truth. I love it. These playoffs is telling you who. To me, playoffs bring the best out of teams. It tells you who is in and who is out. It tells you who is going to break the ice. It tells you that, you know, it tells you, it makes you, how can I say, it shows you your fame. In the regular seasons for boys, playoffs is for men. So we could have a whole lot of upsets, though. And don't be surprised we have some teams you didn't expect to go deep in the playoffs. So if I had to start off the play-in matchups let's start with the East, right? In my opinion, Heat Hawks, I got the Heat winning that. I just think they're bigger than Atlanta. I think they'll kill Atlanta in the block, in the paint. Other than Clint Capella, Bam Adebayo get come in the block. Jimmy Butler's get feast. Max Strus will get open curl threes and Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. I think Kyle Lowry could try his best to contain Trae Young. I got the Heat winning that game and playing the Celtics for the second straight year of a rematch of the spicy Eastern Conference Finals. Bulls, Raptors, I got the Raptors. I mean, one of the reasons why Toronto underachieved, yes, injuries, but also they didn't have a bench at all, and they had no real rim protection, but I got the Raptors being the Bulls. Then we got the Hawks and the Raptors fighting for the 8th seed. I got the Raptors getting the 8th seed, guys. I think Toronto gets into the playoffs. I think Atlanta's going to bottom out. I think Toronto gets into the 8th seed. We get Bucks and Raptors for the first time since 2019 Eastern Conference Finals. So that's my 7th seed is the Heat. My 8th seed is the Raptors. In the Western Conference, playing, I got the Lakers knocking off the T-Wolves. I mean, think about it. Rudy Gobert punching slow-mo like the Mike Tyson two-piecing Kyle Anderson. Also, you got Jaden McDaniels crushing his hand, and he's out for the season. That's huge for Minnesota. And remember, they don't have Naz Reid, who's a stretch big that can finish at the rim. That's huge if you're Minnesota, though. And the Lakers are on a roll right now. So I think the Lakers win that game at home, get the 7th seed, though, and play the Grizzlies. I got the Pelicans being the Thunder. And I got the Timberwolves beating the Pelicans in the 8 seed game, and I got the T-Wolves getting the 8 seed over the Pelicans. So I got the Nuggets and the T-Wolves, Grizzlies, and the Lakers. That's my predictions there.
Yeah, those are some good picks. It's hard to refute any of that or try to deconstruct it. So I think the panel and the chat in the stream will probably most likely agree with you, unless they're subjected to their own team that you have eliminated. Those are the ones that might disagree with you.
Right. If Rudy Gobert, here's what I think. If Rudy Gobert plays, I think the T-Wolves beat the Lakers. If Rudy Gobert doesn't play, I got the Lakers, though.
Now, I'm going to ask you this, my brother. Mm-hmm. When you look at the overall season, it seemed to be pretty competitive, especially from top to bottom. I'm talking about the 20 teams that are part of the extended season. So out of those 20 teams, it seemed to be pretty competitive, especially going down the stretch for the bottom portion of both conference.
Yeah.
And when we look at it as a whole, the Eastern Conference have 4 50-game threshold winners, right? That cross the 50-game threshold. The Western Conference only have 2.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all of that, who do you think will come out with the shining, crowning moment of being NBA champions for 2022-2023 season?
All right. If I had to choose, I got the Phoenix Suns and the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. I think the Boston Celtics are going to find their pot and rings under the rainbow, and I think the Boston Celtics are going to get their one shining moment. I got the Boston Celtics winning the 2023 NBA championship. Here's why. They have a lot of depth, a lot of playmaking on that team. They're one of the best clutch teams in the NBA. Also, if you look at Boston, they're one of the best perimeter defensive teams, like Smart, White, Tatum, Brown, even Al Horford and Robert Williams as base can guard a perimeter. You also have Blake Griffin who can play make, Derek White, Mike Muscala, Sam Hauser can shoot the ball, etc. Though Tatum can kill you in the blow block and the pinch post, and Jaylen Brown can shoot, and Marcus Smart, and Al Horford, and etc. So I think the Boston Celtics are going to be the last team breathing, and they're going to win the NBA championship over the Phoenix Suns.
Wow, G Money, that's pretty informative. Now, keep in mind, what you just did was bring forth the 1976 NBA Finals matchup with 76ers and the Phoenix Suns, and 76ers pulled it out in 7 games.
No.
Who wins how many games?
I got the Celtics.
Yeah.
I got the Celtics.
Wow. So that'll be a repeat of the 1976 NBA Finals.
Yeah.
With the historic content.
Right. My channel again, PM, is called the Last Laugh Podcast. The Last Laugh Podcast. I'll talk to you I'll send in the chat, everybody.
Yes, sir, brother. Good looking. We appreciate that information, and thank you for pulling up the Flight Sports TV. And listen, we'd be remiss if you didn't show. Anybody see anything different when it comes to G Money's take on how the play in and play off will shape up to the ultimate crescendo in the NBA Finals, matching 2 strong teams, one from the West, one from the East? Phoenix Suns versus the Boston Celtics. And he chose Mean Green, the lucky leprechaun himself.
Mm-hmm.
Receive the pot of gold. Do anybody see anything different?
No, I pretty much have the same. So me and G Money are friends. We talked about this too. One take I do disagree with him though. I know he didn't mention it on the stream, but I do think the Warriors are going to beat the Sacramento Kings, and I do think the Cavaliers beat the Knicks.
Ooh, now that's a hot take right there.
Only because of Julius Randle's situation.
Now explain the Julius Randle situation.
Ankle injury.
He's not even 100% healthy.
Yeah, he's going to get reevaluated though by by Thursday. We don't know when he's going to come back. Yeah.
And even if he does come back, how do you know we're going to get like the best of Julius?
How impactful will he be, right?
Yeah. How do you know we're not going to get the same Randle we got in the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks in 2021?
Now, Julius Randle, he owes the New York Knicks a better playoff series performance. So you don't think he's going to come into this playoff series versus the Cleveland Cavaliers with vengeance, especially since Donovan Mitchell passed up an opportunity to be the starting point guard for the New York Knicks in the offseason?
You meant shooting guard. You meant shooting guard. I know what you're trying. I know you were trying to.
I mean, shooting guard. Yeah.
I mean,
it's tough to predict. I think it's going to be a 50-50 series. I think it's going to go 7 games. I just have the Cavs because my gut's telling me like they have a little bit more firepower.
And they have a lot of length.
Though. The Knicks could easily win the series, but I have the Cavaliers going the distance in 7 games.
I got Knicks if Randle is healthy and can give you close to what we saw from him this year and what we saw from him 2 years ago in the regular season. I got New York in 6. Here's why. New York has a better point guard. Jalen Brunson. I love Darius Garland. I think Jalen Brunson is better than Darius Garland. Okay. I think RJ Barrett. I know RJ Barrett's been up and down all year. I get it. He still has played better in the second half of the season, though, using his size and strength in the second half of the season in the paint. I think RJ Barrett's gonna. Look, I remember, we know RJ sucked in the playoffs 2 years ago. Don't forget about that shot. He was terrible against the Hawks too, RJ Barrett 2 years ago. I think RJ Barrett's gonna have a better series this time around, though. Also, I think Quentin Grimes is gonna be an X factor in the series, though. He can give you threes, he can finish at the rim, he can play make himself, he can fly. I think Quentin Grimes has got a big series, though. The Knicks also have a better bench, though. Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, Obi Toppin, Deuce McBride, Evan Fournier, Emmanuel Quigley, who might be in the 6th man of the year, who's been absolutely exceptional. I just think the Knicks have a better team. The Cavs have a better shooting guard and a better center, but I think New York has a better team and better playmaking, though.
And I do think Jared Allen's the most underrated center in the league.
You can make an argument. You really can make a case, yeah. You can make a case, but I think Mitchell Robinson can hang with Jared Allen with his rebounding, his rim protection. So for me, if Randle plays and he can give us something, I got New York over Cleveland 6.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this question, gentlemen. Now, when we look at the Cleveland Cavaliers since 2021, 2022, and 2022 to 2023, with those towers down in the restricted area, historically, have Julius Randle had problems with the Cleveland Cavaliers that area of this game?
No, Randle's actually played well against the Cavs, though, historically in the low block. No.
So that could be the tell of the tape. If Randle can dominate that restricted area over Evans and Jarrett.
Over Mobley and Allen, yeah.
So, I mean, then you have to give the notch to the Knicks in that area. Okay, point guard area. Who's better, Garland, Brunson? Well, then that's 2 major areas that the Knicks check off the boxes, because you got the first line of defense that Garland can break down, and then you got the second tier, which is the front court, and you say Randle can break down Mobley and Allen historically.
Yeah, we also have a better bench too. Don't forget about that flight. We also have a better bench and a better small forward.
Okay. Yeah, this is not flight. This is all access.
All access. I'm sorry. All access.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So the way you have it is that New York dominate 2 of the most important aspects of the game: breaking down the defense, which is the preemptive strike from your point guard, right? And deteriorating that first line of defense. And then you have where you dig your foxhole down in the teeth of the interior of the defense, where Julius Randle can, break that down. So if that's the case, then the Knicks shouldn't have too much of a struggle with Cleveland. But I don't know if you can make that case against the Cleveland Cavaliers because I think they pounded the Knicks this season, right?
No, the Knicks beat the Cavs 3 times. New York is beating Cleveland 3 times.
So Cleveland only won the last game?
No. New York. No. Cleveland won the first game, and then New York won the last 3.
Oh my God! So that's a mark of dominance.
Mm-hmm.
So you saying the New York Knicks have dominated the Cleveland Cavaliers, although the Cleveland Cavaliers are in a higher seed than the New York Knicks and hold home court advantage?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, and the last meeting we beat them without Julius Randle. To be fair, the Cavs didn't have Jared Allen and Isaiah Okoro. We still didn't have Julius Randle the last meeting though.
Well, if they do play a Game 7, Game 7 is going to be in Cleveland. So I think home court advantage was a big thing for Cleveland.
Yeah, that's another good point. Why I think Knicks got to win in 6. If it goes 7, I got Cavs, but I think Knicks got to win in 6. Yeah.
Well, I can give you this: that the Knicks do have the moral advantage because they can put on their chalkboard they dominated this team throughout the regular season, even though the records might not reflect that for the New York Knicks. So they feel that they can beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Knicks. So what you're saying, the Knicks are where they need to be.
Yeah. This is a matchup we needed, yeah, because I think we match well with Cleveland. My only concern is that Cleveland's length and their speed. That's my only concern. Their length and their speed with Mitchell, Garland, Okoro, Dean Wade, Lamar Stevens. They have a lot of length on that team. That's my concern with the Cavs. Their length and speed. Harris LeVert, yeah.
Now, okay, I'm going to ask you two gentlemen. Unstoppable, you can also chime in whenever you're comfortable. Who is the X factor in this series?
For me, RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett needs to perform for New York in this series. RJ Barrett needs to perform. He's the number 3 pick. RJ Barrett needs to kill Cleveland in the low post, in the pinch post, and needs to take the right corner threes. And when you see guys in the fast break, the 3-on-1 or the 3-on-2, don't try to do too much. So I think RJ Barrett's the key for this New York Cleveland battle.
For me, it's probably going to be Darius Garland. I mean, if he steps up and be the number 2, then they should be able to win the series.
Okay, gentlemen, I got a nice, juicy question for you, Pauls, and we're going to get to that right after this.
This is Holly Heat of the Hot Seat with Holly Heat, and this is Flight Sports TV.
What up, y'all? It's your man, Freeway Ricky Ross, and you looking at Flight Sports TV. Don't turn that channel.
Now, brothers, when we look at the upper echelon of the competition in both conferences, once we get past the shaft and we get into the wheat, into the thicket of things, what matchup that is most dangerous to the top seed in each conference?
You talk about in the first round, right?
No, I'm talking about period. What would be the most dangerous matchup for a top seed to tumble?
If you're the Bucks, I would say the Miami Heat. If you're the Bucks, I would say the Miami Heat would be the most dangerous matchup. For the Nuggets, I would say the Los Angeles Lakers.
Wow, good one. Because the Lakers have had the Nuggets number this season, similar to what you were saying about the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks head-to-head matches for the season. Would you say to that, G-Money?
Excuse me?
Is that G-Money?
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, it's me, G-Money, yeah. And if you want to go with the 2 seed, with the Celtics, same thing, the Miami Heat. And for the Grizzlies, same thing, Los Angeles Lakers, yeah.
Wow, two beach cities. So you saying these Beach Boys, they got it in for the top 2 seeds. How you feel about that, Chi-Town?
Chi-Town?
Chi-Town, you available? Chi-Town King? Oh, he's on mute. Unstoppable, are you available?
Yeah,
Well,
I
y'all
would say
chime in
I
when
have
y'all, yeah.
to. I agree with G Money was saying.
Yeah, that's a pretty good observation. So I confer with his analysis. I think the Los Angeles Lakers is dangerous to the Denver Nuggets big time. I don't think Anthony Davis is afraid of anything on that Denver Nuggets roster, and we all know LeBron James is not afraid of anything on that Denver Nuggets roster.
Yep.
And with the Memphis Grizzlies, with the injury to their big muscle, that is deflating in itself. And I don't think that the gristle of the Grizzlies will be anything sharpened without Aquaman himself, because he brings a whole lot of physical pain when he's playing basketball in that paint. A lot of players are afraid to rumble with Aquaman. You know what I'm saying? So his absence is a great bane in the side of the Grizzlies.
Agreed. And also, Brandon Clark is hurt too. Don't forget, Brandon Clark is hurt too.
I stepped out for a second. You guys are talking about Steven Adams?
Yeah. Yeah. The question he asked us was, what team do you think will give the tops number 1 and 2 seeds the most trouble? I said the Heat and the Lakers.
I don't think they'll give. He will probably get 2 games out of that series. I don't see them being the Celtics. I do have the Lakers beating the Grizzlies, mainly because Steven Adams is going to be out.
And Brandon Clark, too.
And I mentioned this earlier on the stream that Jared Jackson is going to be in foul trouble. And someone did mention they don't call as much fouls in the playoffs, but when you're playing the Lakers and LeBron, they're going to get foul calls.
Yeah, I agree, because LeBron's going to get his calls in the playoffs. The NBA wouldn't want nothing better than the Lakers to advance, because right now the Lakers is the storyline of the playoffs. It would have been the New Orleans Pelicans if Zion would have been present, but right now it's the Los Angeles Lakers is the storyline of the playoffs. So they want to ride this storyline as deep as possible. So if the NBA can give the Lakers a little nudge to move forward, they definitely will.
Well, let me ask you all, Alexis. Are you a Laker fan?
Most definitely, I'm a Laker fan.
So what's your ceiling for the Lakers? How far do you have them going in the postseason?
Like I said, once they get this favorable matchup, if they beat Minnesota, you see what happened with the Rudy Gobert situation. And it seemed like the stars are lining up for the Lakers. That hurts Minnesota big time, especially for their rim protection. And now, if they advance, they play the Memphis Grizzlies. I think their Grizzlies have been sliced to some degree, are smoothed out because of the absence of Adams, Aquaman. So with Denver, I think they can get past Denver. But if they meet with a healthy Phoenix Suns, I think it'll be almost insurmountable to get past a healthy Phoenix Suns.
Now, what about the winner of the Warriors-Kings? How do you see that playing if the Lakers beat the Grizzlies?
The Warriors-Kings, I like the Warriors over the Kings. The Kings do not know how to win. They're babies. They're infants in this extended season. They haven't been into an extended season since the days of the Vlade Divac, right? You know what I'm saying? The Bobby Jacksons and the Bibbies.
Here's the thing. Vlade Divac was not on the Kings in 2006, though. The last time Sacramento made the postseason was 2006, though. Chris Webber was gone, and so was Vlade Divac and Pedro Stojakovic. They were gone.
So
it was Mike
they made the playoffs, but they didn't have a deep run, right?
No, they didn't have a deep run. No, they
I'm talking about the deep run
in the first round. They lost to San Antonio in the first round.
Yeah, so my question to you all, Access, if the Lakers play the Warriors or the Kings or whoever comes out in that matchup, do you have the Lakers beating the Warriors, or how do you see that going?
Or Kings?
I think the Lakers could beat the Warriors because somebody mentioned it earlier.
I mentioned it, yeah, because my main thing is rim protection. Kevon Looney's not going to be able to guard Anthony Davis. It's probably going to be Draymond Green, But I still feel like Draymond Green's just too small for him.
Yeah, so I concur with you how you mentioned that Warriors and Kings breakdown. I thought that was very illicit, and I thought it was very on point. So I don't have nothing to debunk when it comes to that take right there, G Money.
No, this is Chi-Town. This is Chi-Town.
I mean, Chi-Town King.
Yeah, like I said, people will call me crazy, but only because of matchups. Now, if they're playing the Suns or the Clippers, the Lakers can't win that series because for some reason the Clippers and the Suns are just a bad matchup for them. But these other teams like the Grizzlies and the Warriors who lack rim protection, I don't see how the Lakers lose that series if they're healthy.
I agree. I mean, that was a good breakdown, so I don't really have anything to add with it. Now, one of our mainstays here at Flight Sports TV, Anthony Alvarado, who is an avid New York Knicks fan, he disagreed, and he feel that the Knicks should win in 7.
I got Knicks in 6, but here's the thing. If this goes to a Game 7, do I have to win at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland? That's going to be very tough, though. So, to me, New York needs to win that series in 6, though. In my opinion, they can't go to a Game 7 in Cleveland.
Now, also, PM mentioned Hartenstein. How do you feel about him in a real pivoted role for the New York Knicks going against those Twin Towers, modern-day Twin Towers?
I think he can help a little bit. Is he going to have a great series? I don't think so. I think he can help a little bit with playmaking. He's another guy that can help you bang a little bit in the block. He's a guy that can do well with the pick and roll and the dump up pass. And he's a guy that can also stretch the floor. And he's a good passer as a big man. And especially with the outlet pass, I think Hartenstein's going to play well with the Twin Towers, though.
So you don't got him being no liability. He'll be an asset.
I think he'll be an asset, yeah. My only concern Hartenstein is that he's a little too foul hardy and he's a little tries to do, and sometimes with Hartenstein he fouls too much. That's my only concern. But other than that, he's steady.
Got it. Anybody have anything on Hartenstein and his play in the Cleveland Cavaliers series? Because he'll be taking his show on the road. He will not have home court advantage, so he will not have the comfort of the crowd for more than 3 games. And do anybody believe Hartenstein can play a pivotal role against those Towers?
I mean, the thing is, the playoff experience. I mean, this guy's been like all over the league, or he's been
Clippers and Rockies,
yeah. So he hasn't really had the playoff experience for me to see that he's gonna have a big series. So I'm gonna say no, only because the guy's never been in the playoffs. And I think experience plays a key factor in these playoffs. Because, like, look at Julius Randle in that Hawks series. I know that was 2 years ago, but he didn't have any playoff experience, and that hurt him because he had no idea what he was doing at times, and he couldn't read double teams. The Atlanta Hawks just tried to get the ball out of his hand, and it worked.
Well, technically, Hartenstein's been to the playoffs twice with the Rockets, 2019 and 2020. Technically, yeah.
Did he get playing time or?
Well, okay, not much. Okay, I can give you that. He didn't get much playoff time playing.
Yeah, I don't think he even got playing time in those series. Or as far as I remember, no. So
not much, no.
I can't see him being a big. Like I said, he hasn't had a real playoff experience like those series with the Rockets. I don't even think he got playing time.
Not much, no.
Yeah.
But not just that.
So basically, Hartenstein.
Also, Barrett played bad in that series too. Don't forget, Barrett and Quigley were terrible in that series too. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, that whole team outside of Derrick Rose was awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Hartenstein is getting his real taste of what it's like to be in integral part of an extended season team with the New York Knicks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think? What about Quickly?
I think he'll have a decent series. I think he'll have an okay series. My only concern with Quigley, I just hope Quigley doesn't get into shot jack mode. That's my only concern with Quigley. But if he can just continue to get into the lane at will, take the right threes, and not try to do too much, he should be fine. But I need to see Quigley play well in this series because last time against the Hawks, he was terrible because he took some crazy threes early in the shot clock, and that was his problem against the Hawks 2 years ago. But I think Quigley will play well in this series. I think so.
And then when you look over, if you go down a bit, the Philadelphia 76ers, could you gauge them? How would you gauge the Philadelphia 76ers?
It's championship. To me, they got to. To me, it's championship or bust with Philadelphia. I mean, Harden's a free agent. Joel Embiid can ask for a trade if you don't go deep in the playoffs. Doc Rivers could be fired and could be watching the Price is Right if his team doesn't go too far. I mean, this team needs to go deep in the playoffs. Philly has not gone to a conference final since 2001, so the Sixers need to have a deep playoff run.
I mean, for me, I don't see them beating the Boston Celtics. I think the Celtics match up too well. I think they could push them to 7 games, but I have the Boston Celtics winning that. And, I mean, I think out of this whole playoffs, I feel like the 2 guys that have the biggest chip on their shoulder is Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. So if they don't end up going to the finals this year, it is going to be a disappointment. But I personally don't think either of the guys are going to the finals, but they do have a big chip on their shoulder.
Now, when you speak about the Joker, I think he's been getting a pass for a long time. He hasn't been getting any type of media criticism for not advancing further, especially being a seasoned MVP. How you feel about that?
I can agree with that.
I mean, the last 2 years is understandable because he lost his best player, Jamal Murray.
And don't forget, Michael Porter was out 2-20 last year too.
Yeah, and even last season too. I mean, no one had them beating the Warriors that series or the Suns the year before that. So I guess that's why he got a pass because the expectations for him were low. Mm-hmm. Now he's the number 1 seed, so expectations are high. But he is going against a great Suns team who I don't know how the Nuggets could beat them. I don't think they have enough to beat the Phoenix Suns.
They don't have the depth.
Or let's say the Clippers somehow find a way to beat them. I think they could beat the Clippers, but I can't see them beating the Phoenix Suns.
Well, we know Denver has had its share of disappointments. But like you said, when you go down the chronological line in reverse, they played Suns, they played Warriors, they played the Lakers. I mean, they had a tall task to overcome. So now that they have everything that they need, which is home court advantage, going up to the Mile High up in the Rockies, I think Denver should be where most people expect them to be, at least representing 50% of the Western Conference and the Western Conference Championship Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But to me, if you're the Nuggets, you got to get to the NBA Finals. And to me, why not win the title? I'm not saying they will, but think about it. You have Thomas Bryant, Reggie Jackson, Christian Brown, Michael Porter's healthy, Jamal Murray, KCP, Ish Smith, Jeff Green, Aaron Gordon was at an all-star caliber season for him. You have depth, you know, if you're Joker. Why can't you get to the NBA Finals to win? I'm not saying he's going to win it. I'm not saying that, but you have enough talent to go deep in the playoffs. Why can't you?
I disagree, though. I don't think they have enough talent to get up the first round, but I think they have enough talent to beat the Phoenix Suns. Like, how are you going to stop those 3 guys?
I mean, I'm not saying they'll beat Phoenix. I'm not saying that, but you have the size. I mean, home court means something. I mean, remember, it's also a half-court game. Again, I'm picking Phoenix to beat Denver, but don't forget the Nuggets thrive in the half-court too. So consider that too. So, and again, it's home court advantage though. So consider that though. I got the Suns winning. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that if you're the Nuggets, if you have enough, Aaron Gordon's a good defender. Jamal Murray, when healthy, is a pretty good defender. I mean, KCP is a good on-ball defender. I mean, Ish Smith is a high IQ player. Reggie Jackson, a high IQ player. I mean, Thomas Bryant can stretch the floor as a big man, can fly to the rim. I'm not picking them to beat the Suns, but if you're the Nuggets, why can't you prove me wrong? You know, there's a whole lot of teams I didn't expect to go far, but went for example. I didn't pick Dallas to beat Phoenix last year, but they proved me wrong. I didn't expect, Atlanta to get to I didn't expect Atlanta to beat New York and Philadelphia in 2021, but they did. I didn't expect, Detroit in 2004 to win the title, but they did. We have seen upsets happen before. So if you're Denver, why can't you go deep in the playoffs this year?
For me, the biggest X factors on those teams is Jamal Murray and Michael Porter. Those are two big X factors. If they play I know it's Michael Porter, sometimes he's up and down, so he needs to be big. If he slumps, then that series is going to be a wrap with. So he needs to perform at a high level. I think he's going to be him and Jamal Murray are going to be the biggest X factors.
I agree. What do you think, All Access? I think Denver needs to have a deep playoff run because next year's going to be harder.
For me, we all know Jokic is going to be Jokic. He's going to put up 25, 30, average 10 boards, 7 assists. Mm-hmm. But the main X factor is going to be Michael Porter and Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about Denver, because I think Denver is very intriguing and can raise the eyebrows to some fans. NBA fans don't believe Denver is going to make it far. They think they're paper champs. But in reality, Chris Brown, how do you feel about him? You think he's overrated? How do you feel about Chris Brown?
Oh, you talking about Christian Brown?
Christian Brown. Yeah, Christian Brown. Yeah, Chris.
Chris Brown or Bruce Brown?
Christian Brown.
Oh, Christian Brown. Okay.
I think he's a decent player. He can shoot. He can stretch the floor. He can finish at the rim. He has a good first step. He's a good young player. Is he a great player? No, but he's a good rookie. He's just too. Yeah.
I haven't seen more from this kid. Yeah, he's a rookie. I still think it's too early to see how he's gonna turn out. He's too, like I said, he's just a baby, so he has ways to go to see. And I don't know how he's gonna do these playoffs. I don't think he's gonna be a big X factor. Like I said, the main X factor is gonna be Michael Porter because this is his. How long has he been in the league? Since 2018.
Who are you talking about?
Michael Porter.
Michael Porter's been in the league since 2018-19 year. Yeah,
I know he missed. I think he missed the first season.
Yeah,
so he's been in the league. Injury. Yeah, so he's been in the league for quite a while. So there's no excuse for him not to perform.
Agreed. Yeah.
Do you expect the performance of a lifetime from Jamal Murray? Could the bubble Jamal Murray return as PM suggested?
I don't know about bubble Jamal Murray. I don't know about that. Do they need bubble Jamal Murray for them to go far? Yes. But I don't see bubble Jamal Murray. Will he have his moments? Yes. But I if I had to be realistic, I can see around 20 points per game for Jamal Murray. That's my guess, though. But I don't see.
Yeah, I feel like he's lost since his injury. He's lost a step. I don't think he's been the same player since the injury.
Oh, yeah. We haven't really seen much of a breakthrough from him coming back off that injury. It seemed like he's kind of been more silent than making noise. But I guess Jamal is at his best in pressure moments. Do you agree?
Well, the bubble year, yeah, definitely, because I don't think any of us had them beating the Clippers, and he just lit that team. That's the only time we've seen him really have a big performance. Even the series against Portland, he didn't do much.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Even I thought he played well against the Jazz too. Don't forget, against the Jazz, he was big.
Oh yeah,
too.
Definitely. Yeah. Outside the bubble year, though, we haven't seen how Jamal Murray looks like, and I don't think we're gonna get that bubble Murray from him these playoffs.
Well, basically, because after the bubble year, he's been injured. But he's kind of been plagued with injuries, unfortunately, for the Denver fan base. Now that they're in a more comfortable position, do you think we can see a better version of Jamal? Or do you think the pressure just overwhelming?
I think he'll put up 20 a game. I think another X factor. I think Bruce Brown could be a big X factor on the defensive end.
Agreed. And he can also hit the corner three too, Bruce Brown.
Yeah, so putting him on a guy like Devin Booker, or we all know he's not going to guard Kevin Durant, but put him on a guy like Devin Booker or CP3. He could slow them down. And then even Aaron Gordon too. I think Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter on Kevin Durant. I think Aaron Gordon would probably be a better matchup guarding Kevin Durant. Obviously, he's not going to shut him down.
I think he could contain him.
Yeah, he could contain him. But I think Kevin Durant's going to be too much for that team. But
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I think they could push them to 6 or 7 games. I still have the Suns beating them.
Me too. Because here's the thing: you can't trap anyone in that Suns team. You can't. That's gonna be a problem. And another thing but to answer your question on assets, can Jamal Murray look like Bubba Murray this playoffs? Of course he can. The games have to be played. Of course he can. Do I think he will? I don't know. He'll have some moments, yes. He'll have some moments in certain games of the playoffs, but is he gonna do that consistently? I doubt it.
Now, when we look at the tail of the tape, if these two teams do face each other as representatives of the Western Conference, Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets, the Rockies versus the Desert, do you think it could come out as the will of the coaching, or you think it's just going to come? The outcome will just be based on the players on the floor.
Me, both. I think it's both. Both matters. For me, it's both. Let's start with the coaching. If you're Mike Malone, to me, his job is on the line. Okay, if Mike Malone and Monty Williams both jobs on the line, both of them, in my opinion. If they both don't make adjustments, both don't utilize their bench, both don't make the proper rotations at all in the hypothetical series between Denver and Phoenix, they both could be watching the playoffs at home. You know what I mean? All assets, and they don't make proper adjustments. So the coaches need to do their job. And also the players. If you're Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, Chris Paul, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, it's time to shine. It's time to perform on the court, play up to your strengths, and get the job done. So to me, to answer your question, all assets is both for me.
That's a good answer. I think it's both as well, because I think it's very important that Mike Malone outcoach everybody in this playoff run. Now, he can get to the NBA Finals, and if they falter, it would not be no sweat off my brow, nor would I have any contentions with that, because he did reach the ultimate goal to be a representative of that. And he just fell short to a better team, because I believe the better team is in the East. The top 3 teams, any of the top 3 teams, I think could beat the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals. But he has to get there. I concur with, I think it was G Money, or was it Chi-Town?
No, it was me.
Yeah, okay. That he has to get there. He already been to the Western Conference Championship, so that's no big surprise. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to shock the Denver fan base, nor will it shock the NBA. When you got the 2-time MVP in Joker, and he got them to the second round with just remnants of basketball players. Now that he have his full team, there's no free rides. So Joker, it's on you to push those boys up in the Rockies past the threshold of a Western Conference championship appearance. You have to get past that. You have to be the representative of the Western Conference. If not, I agree, Mike Malone's job is definitely
on the
in
line.
the balance.
And same for Monty Williams too. Remember, Monty Williams went to the NBA Finals with the Suns 2 years ago. They need to win a title this year. Remember, he's
especially with Kevin Durant,
and that's with KD now. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, you've been Monty Williams. This is your 4th year with Phoenix. 4th year is a charm, right?
Yes.
If you don't win this year, he may be gone.
Now let's say he does go to the finals and they lose to Boston, Milwaukee, or whoever comes up the East. Is he still gone if he makes the NBA Finals?
I don't think so.
It depends how they lose, though. It depends how they lose. If they get smacked in that series, he's gone.
Now let's say I know we can't predict injuries, but let's say they lose one of their players like Booker, KD, and they lose in let's say the second round of conference finals.
I think they'll keep Monty. They'll keep Monty, okay. Yeah.
So basically, it depends on the situation of what happens.
Depends on the situation, yeah.
You know what? Shy, hold on a second, G Money. Shy, you said something very important, and that is the health and status of Kevin Durant moving forward. Because how do we know Kevin Durant is not playing fragile? Thinking in the back of his mind.
With the injuries, me and G Money have this conversation all the time. I mean, you could predict injuries, but at the same time, we don't know. Like last year, we didn't know Chris Middleton was going to get injured.
And John Moran.
In the 19 finals, we didn't think Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant will be out by the finals. So, I mean, I know Kevin Durant is an injury-prone player, but at the same time, you have to assume health. Any player could get injured. I mean, how do you know Jason Tatum was not going to get injured, or Giannis, or whoever it is? Yeah.
Another thing too, and also 2013. Remember, Russell Westbrook remember Russell Westbrook hurt his meniscus against the Rockets in Game 2. Before then, he never missed a game in his life. He played every single game before the playoffs in 2013. And
he was a modern AC Green.
Yeah, he was a moderate AC Green. He was a walking perfect attendance award. And he got hurt in the playoffs in 2013. You know what I mean? He tore his meniscus against the Rockets in Game 2. Nobody thought that. Nobody. Injuries can happen towards anybody, but we can't assume injuries.
How do you know Joel Embiid or Jokic or Jason Tatum or whoever great player in these playoffs doesn't get hurt? You don't know that.
Even Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, any key player, who knows?
Now, I love how you mentioned Mikal Bridges because he has been eye candy most definitely for the Brooklyn Nets. Very surprising how he's been surging in that black and gray uniform over there representing Stand Up Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the house. How do you feel about that matchup, Philly and Brooklyn?
I got Sixers in 5, but I could see Sixers in 6. Here's my keys for Philadelphia. Go to the paint at will. Because other than Nick Claxton, they don't have a shot blocker, okay? Other than Nick Claxton. Also, get Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson in foul trouble, and Vinny Smith. If you can do that, if you're Philadelphia, you will win that series. And also, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, if you want to pull the upset, they got to share the ball. Don't be fancy with the ball. Don't try to play street ball. Because remember, if you watch the Brooklyn Nets, they have played well as of late. But if you watch Brooklyn, sometimes they can try to do too much and play street ball type basketball and late in games to turn the ball over a lot late in games. Avoid that if you're the Nets. And who is going to be your closer down the stretch if you're Brooklyn? So that's my thing there. And remember, last year the Nets got swept. In fact, the Nets have lost 6 straight playoff games dating back into games 6 and 7 against the Bucks in the 2021 second semifinals. So that's my thing there. And I want to throw it out there, guys. Did you know this is the 4th time that Philly and the Nets would meet each other in the playoffs? And also this is the 4th time that in the playoffs that the Sixers are the 3 seed and the Nets are the 6 seed. The 4th time in the playoffs. Just want to throw it out there.
Crazy. Right. 2019 when they had D'Lo.
D'Lo on that team.
And Jacque Vaughn was the coach.
No. 2019 was Rick. It was Kenny
Atkinson. Jacque Vaughn was before. Okay.
Yeah.
Jacque Vaughn.
Yeah.
Hey, though, I love.
What year was Jacque Vaughn was the coach? Did they make the playoffs that year?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah,
2020. Okay.
Yeah, but it got swept by the Raptors. Yeah.
Well, I like this Nets team. I think they're one of the most underrated teams in these playoffs. I think they play hard every game.
They do.
I do have the 76ers winning this game in 6 games, but if the Nets could pull us off, they can. But if it does happen, Doc Rivers is gone.
Facts.
Man, that's a good point, G Money. We was going to get to that Doc Rivers, but okay, since we segued into it, go for it. Doc Rivers.
His job's on the line.
Yeah, his job's on the line too, just like Malone. I mean, if they don't get to the finals or even the conference finals, which they haven't made since 2001, you have to move on from him. And he's a coach who's always underperforming in the playoffs. He has the most blown 3-1 leads. Mm-hmm. We all remember what happened in the bubble when they were up 3-1 and lost. In fact, he hasn't even been to a conference final since 2012, I believe.
2012, yeah.
And you know what? With Doc Rivers, you also have to put the onus on him as well as the balance of the power of the Eastern Conference and the balance have tilted away from Philly based on the debacle initiated by Doc Rivers with the Ben Simmons comments.
Yep. That is true.
Because Doc initiated that. Remember that.
Oh yeah,
he initiated that spiral that went south. All Doc had to do was keep his composure, swallow it, and don't put Ben under the bus. And we never know. History could be altered.
That is true. I want to throw this out there too. Did you know James Harden's playing against his former squad too?
Yes.
And also, did you know Mikal Bridges went to college in Villanova and the Sixers drafted Mikal Bridges but swapped him to the Suns? Imagine Mikal Bridges and the Nets knocking the Sixers out. Imagine
that'd be crazy. PM said the Nets are a dark horse.
I like this Nets team because they don't have a star player, but they play.
Yeah, they scrappy
every game.
They fight.
They're
every
very
night.
scrappy.
My
scrappy.
My X factor for that series, for me, and I have two X factors for the Brooklyn Nets. For me, Cam Johnson, and also
good choice.
And also for the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey.
Now, I wanted to mention Maxey too, but I'm just going to hold off just 1 second. Let's go back to the Brooklyn Nets as a dark horse. Now, keep in mind that the Brooklyn Nets, albeit they lost Ben Simmons, they lost Kevin Durant, and they lost Kyrie Irving, and they had a very tumultuous season and a lot of bickering between managerial and players. They lost a coach this season.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a very, very ebb flow, teetering on the brinks of collapse. And look at Brooklyn now.
Top 6.
They have to be a crown jewel of the East right now.
Mm-hmm. And who knows? And think about this, right? If they were to beat Philadelphia, right? You never know what can happen against Boston or Miami or Atlanta. I'm not saying they'll beat Boston, Miami. I'm not saying they'll beat Boston, but if they were to play Boston, they have a shot against Boston. If, let's say, Miami magically beat Boston, Brooklyn could beat Miami. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting one, but I just think Miami just built for the playoffs. They just seem to me to be a team more sound in the playoffs than night in and night out type basketball. Because if you look at it, their front court is good, their back court is outstanding, and when you look at the totality of what constructs the Miami Heat, you're going to look at toughness. And that's what you need in the playoff. Try your best to stop your player or make your player non-avoid to the best possible. And Spoelstra, a championship coach, former coach of the year, Pat Riley, we already know his resume. I mean, it's teeming with success. So when you look at the overall Miami Heat as a playoff contender, I think they have the recipe and ingredients for success based on a 7-game series facing your opponent, the same opponent, night in and night out, not have to fluctuate on what you call reporting, fluctuate on the talent on the other team. They can zero in, focus on one team and one team at a time. And I just think the Miami Heat overall, whether it's organizational or players who buy into what the organization is preaching, that they can be successful in the playoffs. We saw it last season, and I think we might see it this season as well.
It's a possibility. They're a great perimeter defensive team. They're top 5 in defensive rating. They're one of the best teams as far as points per game because they have perimeter defenders. My only concern with the Miami Heat is scoring. You know what I mean? All assets. I don't know if I can trust their offense in the playoffs. You know what I mean? They're a great defensive team, but to win championships, you need scoring. You need shot creation. I know Jimmy Butler is a dog in the playoffs, but who is going to be that consistent number 2? You know what I mean? That's going to consistently show up in the Miami Heat. Because I don't trust their bench in the playoffs, though. They don't have rim protection other than Bam Adebayo, you know?
Right. So you don't think that Tyler Hero is up to the task to be the help meet for Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat?
I mean, it's possible because he did in 2020. It's possible, and he was good against, Atlanta and Philadelphia. the first 2 rounds, but he was terrible against the Boston in the conference final before he got hurt, and he was horrible against Milwaukee in 2021. Look, Tyler Hero is a good player. He can finish at the rim. He can fly to the hoop. He can create his own shot as far as top of the key 3, the elbow jump shot, the corner 3. He can hit off the catch, off the curl, off the pick and pop, off the screen roll. He's a good player. My concern with Tyler Hero is that I fear that he's going to try to do too much at times in playoff games, though. And he's not a good defender. So I don't know if he's going to be consistent enough. That's my concern, though. I don't trust the Heat offense in the playoffs, though. Their defense will be fine, but I don't know if I can trust their offense, because even though Jimmy Butler is a beast in the playoffs, there are times that Jimmy Butler can lack aggression going to the paint sometimes. You know what I'm trying to say? There are other times he can lack aggression.
I think he get a little fatigued. That's what I think what happens with Jimmy Butler. I think fatigue sets in, and he's just too much of a man to call for the sub, and he's trying to fight power through it. And sometimes that's to the Miami Heat detriment. But now, when we look at some of his teammates, the Miami Heat, we got the old man sitting on the sideline. I'm quite sure he's going to be some kind of affiliate with Miami once he retires. UD. What do you think of the presence of UD? This is being his last hurrah. Will that stimulate the Miami Heat to play this with a little more fight?
For me, this is the thing. Miami played the worst possible matchup they can. They had a better chance beating any other team in the first round than the Celtics. I think if they had played the Sixers, I think they would have won that series, but you're playing a Boston Celtics team, the defending Eastern Conference champion. I do think they could push them to maybe 6 games, even 7. But at the end of the day, I have the Boston Celtics winning that series. But maybe they could probably push them hard like they did last year. They're only a Jimmy Butler missed. They were a Jimmy Butler miss away from going to the finals last year. So we don't know what will happen.
Potentially. But my problem with the Heat, man, I don't trust their offense. There's times they jack up jumpers, don't use their size. My X factor for the Miami Heat, well, Miami has to beat Atlanta first. They got to beat the Hawks first. The Heat have to beat the Hawks first. So if you're the Heat, just beat the Hawks first. But I think Udonis Haslem could inspire the Heat with his coaching, because Haslem's been to the NBA Finals. He's won championships in 06 with Wade and Shaq, with the twice with the big 3. So he's been to the NBA Finals also in 2020. So I think Udonis Haslem has some experience, though, that can galvanize the Heat a little bit, though, to answer your question on access.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I agree with you as far as the Miami Heat lackluster on offense, but PM said something that's pretty valuable. He said they have streaky shooters, but at any given night, these shots can fall, and they better be pretty even versus Boston. And that's what I like, because if Matt Strauss or Strus, however you pronounce his name, depending on the level of your consciousness, and you have, hopefully Duncan can do something. I mean, come on, Duncan, please. And then you also have Tyler Hero, the hero himself. So those 3 guys can, do some damage any given night, and they can just blow you out the water. And now you have to reassess your defensive assignments. You follow what I'm saying?
True.
That's
There's
the
also
only
Gabe
thing.
Vincent too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry for interrupting. There's also Gabe Vincent.
Yeah, Gabe Vincent. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Victor Oladipo. I know he's been out of rotation for a while, but who knows? If they use Victor Oladipo, he could have a big series. Who knows? Yeah.
But see, that's why I didn't mention him. I didn't mention him in Chi-Town because I don't know. It's kind of fickle. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. With Victor, we know his height. We know his, where he can reach. But it seemed like Victor is having some kind of issue in getting his confidence in order to stay in a fixed rotation.
Mm-hmm.
But the X factor for me that series is going to be Tyler Hero.
Agreed.
I
And explain that.
I mean, he has to show he's their second option, I think, scoring wise. Bam's not really for a scoring option. They're going to rely on Tyler Hero to hit some big shots. And Jimmy Butler's going to get double teamed. So it's going to be him and Oladipo and those other guys that have to hit their shots. And like I said, Tyler Hero is going to be the second option scoring wise.
Yeah, I just think Miami is a really nice dark horse to lay something down on. Just just for the long shot because they're just built for the playoffs to me, and I just appreciate how Spoelstra pushes the meter on these players and get the most out of them at the best opportune time. And a lot of coaches don't have that ability to do that. And since Spoelstra is a championship pedigree coach, he has that kind of luster to lay on those players to push them just a little bit more than there probably was willing to give if he didn't say anything.
Right. Ooh, I have one question for you. Ooh, I have a series that I'm going to shock people, and hear me out for this. I know many people are picking the Warriors to beat the Kings, and I can understand it, but I'm going to shock a whole lot of people. You want to hear this, All Access?
Yes, go for it.
I got the Sacramento Kings lighting the beam, lighting up the champs, and dethroning the Warriors in 7. I got Kings in 7. Here's why. The Kings are one of the most fast-paced teams in the NBA. They can utilize the mid-range shot with De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Harrison Barnes can hit a mid-range shot, Keegan Murray can move without the ball and can hit the corner, the wing 3, and he can very versatile. You also have Malik Monk, who's a good on-ball defender that can struggle from 3 and can finish right at the rim. You also have Domantas Sabonis, who can give Draymond Green problems because he can bully Green in the low block, and the Warriors don't have rim protection themselves because Kevon Looney, he can block shots here and there, but he can be foul hardy himself. I know the Warriors have more experience. I get it. I know Golden State's more experience than Sacramento, but here's what we need to consider. I know the Warriors are 11-30 on the road. Yeah, they won 4 of their last 5 in a row, which they played better on the road as of late. They still have struggled on the road all year. And remember, Andrew Wiggins hasn't played since February. He's going to be rusty. It's going to take him time to adjust. And consider the fact that the Warriors don't really have a bench like that. Like, I don't know if I can trust Anthony Lamb consistently, though. I don't. I mean, Steph and Clay will do their thing, but here's the thing. Klay Thompson this season plays better at home compared to on the road. And the Warriors, they're a tough team, but also they're very turnover prone themselves. So for me, call me cuckoo crazy. I got the Kings shocking the world, lighting the beam, lighting up the champs in 7, Kings in 7, going to the second round to win the first.
That would be remarkable.
2004. Yeah.
That would be remarkable if it.
Go ahead.
I would say that would be remarkable if it laid out like that.
Kings have a deep bench, yeah.
But you got to keep this in mind. Money, is that there's 2 hot teams to finish off the season in the last 10 games. You know those 2 hottest teams, and that's covering both conference. And both of these teams are in the extended season. And that is the Los Angeles Lakers, and your other team is the Golden State Warriors. So the Golden State Warriors is coming in as one of the hottest teams in the NBA in the last 10 games. So how will that fare when the Kings has been playing 500 basketball, albeit they have set out their starters because they have clinched their slot. But can you turn it on? Can the Kings turn it on? Are they that experienced? They just can turn it on against the hegemony of sovereignty in the Golden State Warriors?
I mean, it'll be a tough series. Don't get me wrong, because my concern with Sacramento, sometimes they don't have a rim protector, and sometimes the Kings can gamble on defense. Major White got the Kings winning that series because the Warriors sometimes struggle with fast-paced guards. I think they will struggle with a guy like a De'Aaron Fox a little bit though, and also the Warriors struggle with deep. This season for me have struggled with deep teams though, like look at the bench: Trey Lyles, Terrence Davis, Malik Monk, Matt Dellavedova, Metu. I mean, Alex Len. These guys have played well all year. Playmaking, scoring, defense. Like, it's gonna be tough. And Mike Brown, who's in my opinion is the coach of the year, Mike Brown. He knows the Warriors system. Think about that though. Remember, he was on the Warriors coaching staff last year. Mike Brown knows the Warriors system. So we got to put that into context, though. So that's why I got Sacramento beating Golden State. And think about this, too. the Kings are one of the best road teams in the NBA. Did you know Sacramento has one of the most road games for them since 2005? And Harrison Barnes knows the Warrior system too. Consider that too. So we got to keep those things in the mind.
For me, the issue is the Kings' defense. Right now, going into the playoffs, they're the worst defensive team in these playoffs.
Good point. Good point.
So for me, the defense, being able to stop Steph, Clay, Poole, I think that's a big issue. And yeah, Mike Brown knows the system, but if you look at Mike Brown's history in the playoffs, he's had some adjustment issues. If you look at those series when he was with the Cavs at Orlando and then against the Celtics, he made awful adjustments. Last year against the Grizzlies. Last year against the Grizzlies, they shouldn't have gone to 6 games when they didn't even have John Morant. And
that's true.
He had some breakdowns. So I don't trust Mike Brown in the playoffs. He's a great regular season coach, but in the playoffs, he just craps his pants. And for that, I trust Steve Kerr over Mike Brown. So for me, it's coaching and defense for why I have the Kings winning that, as well as experience too, because the Kings have no playoff experience at all, and the Warriors are defending champions. So that's
but consider the fact that the Warriors don't play well defensively on the road. So you got to think about that though. So
no, but the Kings are the worst defensive team in these playoffs right now.
Well, okay, fine, but consider the fact that Sacramento is actually the best transition defense. Did you know that I'm talking about transition, fast break defense, the Kings? So you got to consider that though. So I know the playoffs slowed down, but you got to consider that though. You can't just ignore that though.
And it's gonna come down for me for playoff experience. I mean, this team has no playoff or the Sabonis.
Sabonis has playoff experience. Sabonis has been to the playoffs with the Thunder and the Pacers. Harrison Barnes been to the NBA Finals. Matt Dellavedova been to the NBA Finals. Trey Lyles been to the playoffs though. I mean, Terrence, some guys have been to the playoffs though. Alex Len been to the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying compared to the Warriors' experience, the Warriors have way more experience.
I agree with that. That's true. That's true.
Like I said, for me, it's 3 things: defense, coaching, and experience.
Yeah, the Warriors are the hegemony right now, and the Kings, they're infants in this, and I don't think they know how to win, regardless of Mike Brown's experience or his inside knowledge on the Warriors and the way they scheme.
Oh, my fault. Trey, Alex Len has no playoff experience. My fault. Scratch that. Alex Len has no playoff experience. Excuse me. My fault.
Mm-hmm. And I just think they just don't know how to win just yet, and I just can't see them beating the Warriors in the first round. Now maybe it was like second round or something after they done, got through a series, a tough fight, but they just don't know how to do it. And I don't think Mike Brown can just teach him that overnight, because you got to remember, Kings are coming from the being a cellar dweller to being one of the most surprising teams in the NBA this season. And I just think that it's just too early to sprinkle some salt on the Sacramento Kings as being one of the flavors of this year's playoff run. So I'm going to go against that and go with the Golden State Warriors. I'm a put my skin on the line for the experience, who know how to win. I think Draymond will be on his best behavior. And the Warriors will beat the Kings 4-1 in a 7-game series.
Oh, yeah, 5 games.
I don't know, Dex. He made some good points with that Kings stuff.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
No. I'm saying he made some good points. I was agreeing that I agree with you both, actually. But what G Money was saying got me thinking about how they know the system, and they very well may give Golden State some go.
And thank you, Ricky Beavers. Experience can be overruled.
Let me share this with Unstoppable real quick. Okay, they know the system, right, Unstoppable? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's cool. But Mike Brown, I'm quite sure, replicates that same system with the Sacramento Kings. So that means the Golden State Warriors know their system as well. And they are more potent running the system than the Sacramento Kings are, especially in a 7-game series facing each other night in and night out. I would give the edge to Golden State because they've been running that system forever. You know what I'm saying? It's like second nature to them, where the Kings have to think their way through the system. Golden State just react their way through the system.
Yeah, you make a good point too, bro. You know?
Good point. But another reason why I got Sacramento in the series, and again, I know playoffs is different. I get it. But the Kings are one of the best clutch teams in the NBA. If you watch the Warriors all year, the Warriors have been better in the clutch as far as being at home, but they struggle in the clutch on the road. Those are things we need to consider.
Yeah,
So,
listen, we're about to get back out of here. We're about to get out of here and pull back up tomorrow. We're going to finish this conversation. Listen, everybody that's new, who pulled up tonight, hit the subscribe button. Peace and love to everybody. Shout out All Access, Dex. Salute to the chat and the panel.
Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.